Let's stay in the same category for 6.
Guru had 1. He had -1, and now he's got 1.
It was $4.
That was 4.
Oh, I thought that was 2. My fault.
Look at
Marine Catholic. That's Marine Catholic, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I appreciate
Marine Catholic.
Listening.
Yeah.
Marine
My
Catholic
fault.
wing.
My
Yeah.
fault.
No problem.
My bad. Truly.
No bad. Yeah, you're
Same category for 6, Whitey.
Football Hall of Famers by the numbers for 6. Number worn by Lynn Swan, Marvin Harrison, and Tony Gonzalez.
Larry.
Dibs.
Larry.
Who's 88?
88 is right. 6 more for you, Larry. You've got 12 down at your board.
Football Hall of Famers by the numbers.
For 2 to complete that category. Number worn by Allworth, Unitas, and briefly Montana.
Larry.
Yes, Larry.
19. Who's 19?
Judges, yeah, he got it. Who is 19 as a question. So that's 2 more for you. So you got 14, Larry. 14 to 3 to 1. That category is completed now. So we have left for you, Larry. We have alliteration sensations of the hardwood, and we have the category to Kyle, Oakland Athletics 2022. 2 dibbly doubles out there still.
I'm going 22 athletics.
4, 2, 4, or 6?
2.
For 2. Kyle?
Anything that can go wrong does for pitchers who make mistakes to this power hitting catcher.
Guru.
Guru.
Who is Sean Murphy?
Sean Murphy is right. Yeah, it gives you 5.
Let's stay with that same category for 6, Whitey. I just watched him against the Angels last night. Oh, my God.
All right, Goo. You trail Larry 14 to 5. How much?
6.
Do you wish wagering 6?
True daily double.
True. Yeah. 2022 Oakland Athletics. Here, once again with a clue, is Kyle.
With a team best 1.78 ERA, the hill belongs to this reliever.
Larry.
That's it. Yes, because it's a diddly double, so it's all him. On
Who is Puck?
Sorry, it's incorrect. It's actually Sam Mole.
Sam Mole, yeah.
Sam Mole.
Really good. Molehill.
Yeah, good clue.
2
Tough
great
one,
ones so far.
Yeah, so it takes you back down to -1. Goo, but you still have the board. Oakland A's for 4, and alliteration sensations of the hardwood for 2, 4, and 6.
Let's do the hardwood for 2.
Okay, let's alliteration sensations hardwood for 2. In his first season with the Bulls last year, this veteran averaged 28 points per game.
Guru.
Yes, Guru.
Oh, my God.
Larry.
Yes, Larry.
Who's DeMar DeRozan?
DeMar DeRozan is right. Gives you 16. This is Jockbody on 95.7 The Game, KG, MZ, FM, and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the Odyssey app. The Summer Slam here. Larry has 16. Dibs with 1. Goo -1. Larry running away with it at this point.
Oh.
Still got some pizza left in the box, though, Larry. Alliteration sensations of the hardwood for 4, and 6 remain.
Alliteration sensation of the hardwood for 4.
Memphis big man who led the NBA in blocked shots last year.
Guru.
Yes, Guru.
Who is Jackson?
No.
Judges, I think. Yeah. That.
Don't you give the alliteration?
You gotta have his whole name. Okay, sorry.
Larry.
I'm gonna go with Dibs there.
Now, Larry had it first.
Okay, Larry.
Who is Jaren Jackson?
Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah, we need it because it's the alliteration. Needed all that. So you got the 20 for you, Larry, and to complete this round with alliteration sensations of the hardwood for 6. And guess what? It is, of course, the last remaining.
We also have 2022 athletics.
Yeah. All right.
We do have 22 athletics.
Yeah.
We got 22 athletics.
Thank you. Very kind of you. 2022 Oakland Athletics for 4. What can he do? I'm sorry. Kyle has the clue.
No, you do it.
All right.
No, he's having a real hard time. Kyle, he needs a break.
What can he do for you? How about lead the A's with 17 home runs?
Dibs.
Yeah, Dibs.
Who is Mark Canna?
Sorry, that's incorrect.
What can he do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who's Towney?
I
have no idea.
Yeah, it's who is Seth Brown?
Who? Now, who is Seth
What
Brown?
can Brown do for you?
Yeah,
Really
who
good,
is Seth
Kyle.
Brown?
Really good.
Thank
Very well done. Yeah, once again. So we do. This is Larry's, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Alliteration sensation, the hardwood. And here it is, Larry. How much do you want to wager?
2.
2. 4 years ago, when he said his Rockets were better than the Dubs, Kevin Durant said, all he does is dunk.
Totally. I finally have one I got right. Who is Clint Capella?
Clint Capella is right.
Jeez,
That's
God.
right. It's Clint Capella. Takes you to 18.
Wow.
We go to Final Jeopardy, and it's all but clinched here. Larry Krueger has all but clinched the championship. So let's keep it moving here with the category, guys. NFL's fastest player is the category.
Okay.
NFL. You going to be all right, Go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All
Hey,
right.
the Giants are still. If the Giants are still alive, you're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
Yeah. NFL's fastest player is the category. You guys ready for the clue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. All right. Here you go. According to Next Gen Stats, the fastest time in the NFL last season was posted by this back, who reached a speed of 22.13 miles per hour on one of his 18 touchdown runs. Good luck. According to Next Gen Stats, the fastest time in the NFL last season was posted by this back, who reached a speed of 22.13 miles per hour on one of his 18 touchdown runs. Looks like Larry Krueger's going to claim the championship, but we'll see how daring he's going to be here in Final Jeopardy. Larry leading with 18 right now. It's, I think Goo's in second place and Dibbs.
No, I have -3. He's got -7.
He's got -7. I had him for
Yeah,
only -1. I guess I didn't.
You've had a
keep track
tough
of that.
time with this one today.
I have, yeah.
It's rare.
But we're almost there. Almost there, Dibbs. So we'll start with you, Goo. What do you got?
Who is Emmett Smith?
Emmett Smith is not correct. What was your wager?
All of it.
All of it. Okay. Over to Dibbs.
Who's Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. What was your wish?
Oh, also all of it. All of my -3.
Larry, what do you got?
I mean, I know saying it, but who is Raheem Mostert?
No, it's not Raheem Mostert. What was your wager, by the way?
2.
2. So you're going to be the winner. It was actually Jonathan Taylor.
Of course.
Yeah, of the Colts.
225.
Congratulations,
Good job, Larry.
Larry Krueger.
I can face my 13-year-old
Yes,
tonight.
big. The Jeopardy SummerSlam 2022 champion.
I was looking it up. Emmett Smith just short of 18 rushing touchdowns last year.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came up just shy with 0.
Yeah. What's this fake humility? I mean,
Wow.
Are you just overwhelmed, speechless?
It's been an incredible thing. I'd like to thank the Academy. Thank all the little people out there who voted for me. And, what can I say?
Well, now the real work starts for you because you got to try over the next 3 hours to get Guru back to a point where he actually wants to talk about sports again.
Exactly.
I can't tell if I'm really hurt. I think I am. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
First names just, wow. Getting old.
How long have you guys been playing that?
Oh, man. 10 years, 11 years?
Well, yeah, we used to do it when we did the
on.
morning show, and then we took a break with it, brought it back last summer briefly, and then we decided to trot it out.
Yeah. And we it used to just
Big
be
fan of game shows.
Yeah,
Big fan of
it's a
game
fun
shows.
one.
The
Used to
Game
just
Show
be
Network is good
Kreidler
too.
and I head to head, and
Yeah.
we did a truncated just one round only,
Yeah.
as you recall,
Mhm.
and then it slowly expanded. And I'll tell you, when Goo got involved, that's when the game took on new life and the people love it. The people live and die by your successes and your inevitable failures.
I got off to another fast start. It ain't about me, Larry. Great job.
Seriously, and you led the way. I mean, I just had to get my bearings yesterday, and then I was very disappointed in my performance, and it grinded on me. So I brought the A game today.
If your daughter didn't look at you, I'm not getting in the house with that performance. So yeah.
Seriously, I took an extra fish oil, this morning.
Smart.
Nice.
Try to
Smart.
lube the brain up a little bit.
Well done.
you know.
Dibs, you think all the vaccinations you had yesterday?
Yeah, playing hurt and
Yeah.
a couple of coin toss buzzes
Yes,
didn't go my way.
definitely.
Which, and it's sometimes I was on delay over here. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you?
Wow.
I think I was too.
Yeah, apparently.
So,
Yeah, you
a
did
little
kind of
rust.
throw me off right
Yeah.
out of the gate. I was
Sure.
locking in on one
I
category.
think I'm 1 and 2 in person though. 1 game under.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Get it tomorrow.
Silver lining, baby.
Yeah.
Totally.
What do you guys have coming up today? Go.
We'll look at last night's Giants game. I was convincing Larry yesterday that the math is still there. 5.5 back. And who would have looked at the Padres after the big acquisition of Soto and Bell as their ticket in? Something's off. I know Tatis is not there, but we'll get into the next 20 games because they got a lot of pretenders, the Pirates, the D-backs, teams that they've had trouble with over the past, but they got action.
Yeah,
Mhm.
only 4 back in the loss column and 2 more head-to-head against San Diego. And it feels like the Padres do this every year. When
Wow.
they get to August and
They're gripping.
but it seems like every August and September they do this.
2019 they did.
Wow.
2020
Yeah.
was the short year and they were fine. And then last year they did it. And
Yeah.
They're a
like
losing franchise, and
Yeah.
when they start to win, they start to feel uncomfortable.
But
But
they still
even
got
this
that
year-
Tatis thing out there
Yeah.
for him to come back to kind of wake him up. But where will they be when he comes back?
We had Jesse Agler on a little bit earlier in the program,
Okay.
and he says he's expected to get bumped up to AAA this week, and he should be back very soon. And I was saying that other than when he plays the Giants, he's one of those guys I root for. Baseball needs more players like Tatis Jr., somebody who is not afraid to pop the collar, flip the bat, and be a little exciting.
There you go. And he was traded for a guy who stole his nickname from
James Worthy.
James Worthy. Big game James.
Wow.
Yeah.
James Shields, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you ask the questions here?
I need some help today. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's now like a trivia master.
Where did the defense? Where did that come from last night?
Seriously, how about Doval throwing
Thank
103
you
to
finally,
finish?
young man.
How
Do
nasty
it.
was that?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Let
last night.
loose.
That was a great
Yeah.
game last night.
It was.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
It kept you. It was gripping.
Yeah.
Kept you on the edge.
Did you think he was safe?
Yeah.
I heard you guys
Every
wait
single
for Shasky.
time. And still, until I paused it before the show, you actually see his hand up.
Okay.
It was like the 35th time I watched it.
Man.
Every time I'm like, he's safe.
Yeah,
He's safe.
I had him because the ball got there for. I thought he was out the whole time.
Hart
It was
made
closer
love to
than I
that
thought,
tag.
but-
Yeah.
My
that
first
was
thought-
David Copperfield.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, that was
My
beautiful.
first thought was out, but then then they showed the first couple replays. I'm like, oh no, they're going to make him safe.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
but you know what? That was an awesome play by Joey Bart. I mean, it might have been it might be lucky, but I mean, he scooped it and tagged
Mhm.
with a catcher's glove in one
Yeah.
motion.
I
That's
loved
big.
he was so confident. Sometimes a guy wants to go to replay and he's no, go to replay. And he was like, yeah, you want
He's
to
like
check that.
immediately
Yeah,
just pointed.
yeah,
it.
exactly. You want to check.
And Kapler in the dugout was just like grabbing his
Yeah.
earphone.
Okay.
Kapler in the last 3 or 4 games is on edge. Would we agree on that? Kapler's on edge.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
then
like
one
that
last
for
thing
an
we're
edge.
going to get into. I'm going to get on Larry's nerves on this, but I was driving home. Who cares? Turned on XM radio after you guys were in commercial here because I listen to Damon and Rattle all the time. And I'm not
answer,
the
good
only one
answer.
that started this last week. I heard in the goodbye presser for Jimmy that we're going to do good right by Jimmy. And I feel like they're not.
Can't now.
What do you mean you can't? You can, so he can find another team. But I just dibs. I feel bad for the guy. Who am I? He doesn't need my
Yeah.
sorrow.
No.
But let him go.
They will. August 30th. And they don't owe him a damn thing.
Wow.
They don't owe Jimmy anything. You know what they owe something to? Themselves, and that is to not give Seattle, for example, a competitive edge. So if you do right by Jimmy, and I agree, they tried to, but did Jimmy do right by them by waiting 5 weeks to have surgery?
And who's to say that Jimmy's not totally in the know on every step that could be coming? You know, he might be. They may have just not telling us, but they may have told him exactly what their deal is or who knows. They may have a deal set up for all we know.
Yeah. But he'll be okay. He'll pull through.
Yeah.
Jimmy's
Well,
gonna
he won't be
fine.
a starter anywhere this season. That's
Maybe
kinda
Seattle.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
If I-
Cleveland.
If I let him go now and release him now because he wants to be released and he goes to the Seahawks and that hurts me, why am I still obligated to do right by Jimmy?
because you had a relationship and the dude gave you everything. He went out there with a torn shoulder, a dangled finger, and you said we're going to do right by him. I just took him at face value. Mean what you say what you mean. And
Yeah.
damn, again, who am I? I got my own problems. You know, my kids.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for the dude.
Yeah. All right. Steiny and Guru, Larry in for Steiny coming up next right here. Thanks, Dibs. I can't wait till we work together again. Thank you, Kyle. Steiny and Guru with Larry in for Steiny next, 95.7. The Guy.
A great point. Get off me, text line.
He's truly one of a kind.
That is wow. Oh my God.
And he's doing a great job.
I need you to man up and say what you really want to say.
Diamond, you're doing a great job. And together, they are Steiny and Guru.
Yeah.
On 95.7 The Game.
What's up, Bay Area? No Steiny today. It is Larry Krueger and myself. Larry, you won Jockverty. Yesterday at this time, I was a champ. Muhammad Ali. And now I just flamed out, but I'm not a hater. So I got to give you congrats. We got a lot to get to. We'll get to the Giants staying alive. John Travolta. We'll also look forward to the Niners game this Friday. We got Cam Inman, the man, the myth, the legend, joining us at 2 p.m. And then also we'll get back to the Kevin Durant thing, because you sent me something on Facebook last night, because we did bet a pop that Nash and Marks would be gone before KD, and you sent me something that looks like I may be owing you something.
And we're cashing that in.
Yeah, look at you.
Today.
Yeah,
we're
ASAP.
cashing that in today.
But let's get to the Giants. I was fighting you yesterday. I wasn't fighting you because you're a good dude, but I was just trying to tell you, you're saying there's a chance. Jim Carrey, and I said San Diego. You know, this series meant something for the Giants after sweeping the A's in a 2-game series, and it was a phenomenal baseball game. They win 1-0. You talked about, you know what, they only got, and you weren't by yourself, they only got 2 starters, and Wood went out there and pitched his ass off. But that replay, that relay, forget track and field, the relay that the Giants displayed was 100. It was perfect. The tag by young Bart, who just things seem to be, the Bart train is going in the right direction if you just focus in on him. But more so than that, they gained a game in the wild card standings. And as I look at you in your fresh, crisp shirt, they're 5.5 back. What did you make of the non-overcall? Because to me, I'm like, tonight you got a game, you beat them. You don't even got to worry about, who did they win? Did they win? You'll be 4.5 back.
I mean, the Giants show a lot of fight. They showed a lot of fight last night. And you know what? The bottom line, Goo, is that they can't win 8-7. So they got to win every 2-1 game, every 1-0 game, every 3-2 game, every low scoring game that they're in the rest of the way. They got to win, because they can't win 8-7. They can't win 6-5. They don't score those kinds of runs. So if they get a low scoring game, they got to do it. But to me, just that relay play was at the 7th. I mean, Gonzalez picks it off the track. He throws it into Crawford. Crawford, first of all, was a laser right to Crawford. Crawford, though, I thought made that play with his positioning. If he's positioned on the other side, and he's got to flip his body around, there's no chance at that play. But instead, he's half turned, catches it with his glove hand, his left hand, and then in one motion throws a bullet with his right hand, and he got a lot of velo on that throw. It was still in the dirt. And then Joey Bart, I mean, my goodness, just to scoop that was an awesome play alone. But then to scoop it and to tag,
it was like a pat. It was like a pat.
Awesome.
It was.
Awesome
he made
play.
love to it.
It reminded me of Gregor Blanco to Crawford to Buster to nail Cecil Fielder's kid Prince.
Wow.
In the series a few years ago.
No
2012.
doubt. And I'll say this, that was a big game, and you talked about it. We're seeing life from Kapler. You could say, he's gripping or whatever, but I like it. He's got ants in his pants, and it's time to dance. And right now, the Giants winners of 3 in a row. If somehow they can go, and Musgrove's a great pitcher who they're facing tonight. But you talked about the mustard. Forget hot dogs. Crawford had so many relay throws. If it's a noodle arm or not a strong arm, that bounce is like, it's slow, and now the runner can make a few steps and he's safe. But that bounce was like, I'm still got somewhere to go. And it was Bart's glove who allowed them to make that tag. And I'm sitting there like, not only did they get the benefit of the call, Larry, the call on the field was safe.
Right.
So wherever they go in New York, I'm like, there's not enough to overturn it. And you talk about you love game shows on the radio. I'm playing game shows in my mind when we talk about the theater of overturn calls when it comes to replay, like what's the precedent? And last night they got the benefit of it. And outside of that, it still was 2 outs and they had a runner on third. And I'm like, you know what? The Giants season, this is it in a microcosm. They're going to get that call, but then the next batter will get them in or a wild pitch. I mean, that's how I'm looking at this Giant season buzzard luck, and it didn't happen. They got out, and you talked about it. Doval, I've been coming down his road for throw that heater. Even Sunday against the A's, I felt like it was too many sliders. Come with the heat. And last night, 103 on the gun, 100 on the gun. That's who you are, kid. Throw it.
Yeah, and he's throwing that sinker more. So he's throwing through the sinker last night at a 101 off the plate with 2 strikes and didn't get the call. But I mean, he's throwing a 101-mile-an-hour sinker. I'll tell you though, the one thing, it's a small thing, but would it really kill baseball to, instead of making that call, just like throw up an inquiry like they do in horse racing? Do they have to make the call on the field? Why couldn't they just say, you know what? Too close to call. Too close to call. Throw up the inquiry flag and then go to replay. Then we don't have a prejudged outcome. Now it worked out in the Giants' favor, but let's just say the video in some ways was inconclusive or something. It just, to me, I like what they do in horse racing. You get a photo finish. They don't say the 5-horse won and the 4-horse finished second. They say inquiry, go to the film. Then they go to the film and they tell you who won the race. I'd like to see baseball do the same thing. Don't predispose it. NFL, the same thing. Don't predispose. It was a fumble. It was ruled a fumble on the field. So now we need overwhelming video evidence to overturn it. Why judge it if you can't judge it by the naked eye? Throw up the inquiry flag, go to the video, and make the right call instead of having, well, you know what? We made the wrong call on the field, but then the video was inconclusive. So we're just all going to have to live with the wrong call. You know what I'm saying? Use a little horse racing, throw it into instant replay for baseball and football and basketball, and just go that route instead of judging it and then making us find the proof, the visual proof to overturn the incorrect call.
I'll tell you this. I'm not mad at you. You made your case. I don't agree because I don't know if you remember our first show. I said, Larry, one of the best plays in baseball to me is the play at home plate, but it's been marred by the Cousins rule, with Posey. And I kind of get that. But last night that was on display. You see the outfielder go get the ball, then they're showing you the runner. And in my mind, I'm like, they don't even got a chance to get him. Oh, the ball beat him. But if you're telling me you don't want to see the emphasis, like the slam dunk of baseball, is the call by the ump. And I was listening to the guys this morning, Shasky, Langford, Dibbs, and Whitey, talk about, are we ready for robot umps? There would be no soul if that play culminated in, oh, no call on the field by the ump. I'm like, well, do the computers or whatever you're lobbying for, because there's nothing more exciting than what did the ump see? And when he said safe, that adds to it. And San Diego crowd for a minute went crazy.
What's the purpose, though, Goo, of instant replay?
Emotion.
No. The purpose is to get as many calls as possible. Right. Get the calls right.
I still think they got it wrong, but yeah.
Let's get the calls right. You thought that call was right?
Yeah, I thought he beat it. But then the hand,
the two angles that they showed immediately looked like the hand was under first. Right. But then the one angle we got up, where you could see the tag, I think it was like from maybe the first base dugout angle, you could see the tag before the hand touches the ground, touches the plate. So I thought it was the right call for sure. It wasn't like one of these phantom
overturn
calls.
It, Larry. Was it enough there? That's what shocked me.
I thought it was. I mean, and I was at this point. I'm not that I don't care. I'm a Giants fan. I'm rooting for the Giants, but overall, I mean, it wasn't like the season's on the line in my mind. I think the season's kind of already gone. But whatever. I just like to see if you're gonna have replay, don't put mechanisms within replay that prevent you from getting the right call. Go with no call and then get the right call instead of judging it. Well, you know what? The fumble is favored. And it's
what they call on the field.
I know. Yeah. I don't like that, because sometimes I just feel like, we're using replay, but we're not getting the calls correct because of a loophole in the replay process.
And you know what? And hearing you say that, I'm not an attorney, but it's kind of leading the witness, because again, part of it's not just getting it right. It's like New York's looking at, well, what did they call? So that has something. It ain't about what they called. We want you to get it right.
But I do understand your point.
You got to have more to overturn it. And that's really not the essence of what you guys are supposed to be doing. Forget what was called. Tell us what you saw.
I do understand your point overall, though, because think about it. Think about baseball or basketball or football when we were kids. There was action, and whatever was the call in the moment, that was the call.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, that was made those calls incredible. Now so many of the calls, the biggest calls, even in October, it's like, what's the image? Do we have the image of the play? No, we have the image of a 60-year-old umpire taking headphones off, and that's the moment. You know what I mean? The moment shouldn't be a 60-year-old guy going, I just took the headphones off and a guy in New York said this.
Yeah.
It's like it should be back onto the field. But if we're really so crazy about getting every call right, and we have to use technology to get it right, then let's use technology and eliminate all the processes that prevent us from getting the right calls.
Let me ask you this to piggyback off of that. Are you a person, and I think I know the answer, are you okay with the K zone to where if we call balls and strikes with nobody behind the plate, are you ready for that? Would you
No.
recommend that?
No,
Like if
I don't want that.
Okay, so
I don't
you're
want
not
that.
all the way on one side to where eliminate the human element of it.
No, I don't. I like the human element of it. It's to me that it's okay. These guys, the Major League Baseball umpires are the best. They are the best.
Now, why do you say that?
Because I think it's proven. I mean, look how many games there are. Look how infrequently they screw up. I mean, they are the best. I think the baseball umpires get it right more than the basketball refs get it right, more than the NFL refs get it right. To me, the baseball and the NFL refs. I mean, the guy's teaching. The guy could be have a afternoon drive show on the game, and then all of a sudden he's reffing an NFL game. So is he full-time ref or is he a full-time talk show host? Are you a teacher? Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Or are you an NFL ref? So they're part-time. I mean, NFL's still going with their mom and pop roots on the refs. It's preposterous. Baseball umpires, you got to be really, really good. And it's an arduous climb to get into Major League Baseball. And I just think, history has shown that they're the best.
Yeah, Larry and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. No Steiny. He'll be back Monday. And Larry, I've been trying to kind of, lead you to the water and hope you would drink it that, there's still a chance. Jim Carrey, you're saying there's a chance for the Giants. And I got to be honest, when San Diego made the move for Soto, I just knew they were untouchable. I was like, okay, they're going this way. They're not even an option. And lo and behold, what's been revealed the last couple of days is this could be the Giants' ticket to the offs if San Diego keeps going the other way. But the Giants not only have 2 more games with them starting tonight, they got another series with them coming up. So before you came in, I said, you know what? What's the Giants' schedule the next 20 games? They got 2 remaining at San Diego. They come home against the lowly Pirates for 3, playing okay baseball. Then you got Arizona at home for 4, Larry. You go to Colorado for 3. You got Detroit at Detroit for 2. Then you're on the road with Minnesota for 3. And then you got San Diego at home for 3. So that's 20 games. And I know it's about focus on the game that you got tonight, but I'm looking at a lot of teams in here that we talked about, bottom tier teams that the Giants still struggled with, Arizona and the Rockies. So it's about how are you playing? And a big part of why I'm not telling you they're going to make it, they're healthy right now. How long that's going to last, I don't know, but I'm seeing Longo in the lineup. I'm seeing Jock Peterson, all players I criticize. Crawford's in there, but now they're whole. I mean, they kind of control their own destiny, as crazy as it sounds.
I mean, no question. And it's go time for the Giants right now. There's no backsliding. They've won 3 in a row. They got to keep the pressure on. They got a Padre team that is not swinging it. I mean, they got great hitters up and down that lineup. They ain't swinging it. I mean, what do the Padres score? They haven't scored in 23 innings. 23 innings of baseball, the Padres have not scored. I mean, think about that lineup. They got Soto in that lineup. They got guys, and they're not scoring. So they're pressing, and the Giants got to take advantage of that. I don't want to hear about the schedule, though, because the Giants, couldn't beat, the worst teams on their schedule. So it's really not about the schedule. But for the Giants, I think it's just about battle every game. And they got guys who've done it, right? I mean, they got guys who have been in this spot before where you just got to grind out a game, and they can grind out a game.
Last night was
it's got to be a low scoring game. It can't be a high scoring game because they just don't have that kind of offense to run with teams that can score 5 or 6 runs. If they can keep for the next 3-4 weeks, if they can get the rest of their rotation to start to fire the way Rodon is and the way Webb is, that's going to help. I still can't believe Gabe Kapler threw Tyler Rogers out there in a tie ball game or a one-run game. I'm like, what are you doing? What is this love affair that Kapler has with Tyler Rogers? To me, he's like a 7-7 guy. If you're up 7, if you're down 7, throw him in there. To keep using Tyler Rogers in high leverage situations is just begging to get beat. They got away with it last night.
I'll tell you what, Larry, there's a football game here in the Bay Area Friday. We'll talk about it when we get back right here on Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
No one. And I mean
You go by lots of titles: veteran, dad, hairstylist. So adding a student title might feel daunting. National University is here to support all your titles. National University, supporting the whole you.
Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Man, Larry, I'm scatterbrained. I'm all over. We got so much to get to. We got the greatest women's tennis player retiring, in my estimation, or women's athlete ever in Serena Williams. We'll get into that. You tell me where she ranks, but she called it quits. We got a Niner game, which we're going to get into tonight, Friday. And the talk on social media right now, Larry, is how much, and I asked you yesterday, do you play Trey Lance, who up until today has been struggling in camp, and is that to be expected? And again, the Giants still got action. Mathematically, they still got an opportunity. And then we'll get into what I think is just a locomotive of a story. Do you give in to the great Kevin Durant? And you and I got a bet, and right now you're technically winning if the tea leaves are correct. But right now, Larry, I'm being honest, man, like I always am. Friday seems like a week 1 game against Green Bay here in Santa Clara for the Niners, because again, do you give young Trey Lance, hasn't even gone through his football puberty, do you give him a half, or do you give him you're a seasoned vet, you only play a couple series? Tell myself and the masses what you expect, because to me, I'm not a ball coach, I play Madden. You got to at least give him a half. You can't be scared. And if he stunk it up, or he wasn't, knocking it out the park in practice against his own defense, why would you limit just a few series?
Shanahan spoke this morning about this in Santa Clara. He said he's going to play him in game 1 and game 3. There's only 3 preseasons this year. So
okay.
He's going to play game 1. He's going to play game 3. He's not going to play game 2. So that's the way it's going to come down. Now, as far as how much does he go, I think it's really tied to Trent. I don't want Trey out there without Trent. If Trent wants to go the full half, then I have Trey out there for the full half. I'm not putting Trey out there without Trent. Trent's his blindside protector. To me, I mean, the line's going to be somewhat fluid anyway, because you got some young players trying to be introduced to the lineup. They're going to go with Burford and Banks, and who knows at the center. But I would say, keep Trey in there behind your number 1 offensive line. But even beyond that, it's more for me about Trent. Get Trent whenever Trent's on the field.
On Madden.
Yeah, I mean, if Trent's out there, play Trey. As soon as Trent comes off, take Trey off.
Let me ask you this. I need to get a life. I popped in the Niner game against the Texans. Trey start last year.
Yeah, what'd you think?
And
second half or first half? Because the first half was ugly.
All of it. The first half was ugly, and there was a play that the Niners got completed to get a field goal that should have been intercepted, and he threw it toward the sideline, and no excuses. The Texan defender, I felt like the sun was in his eyes, but he could have jumped twice to pick it off, and he didn't. But to Trey's credit, they got the field goal. But I'm like, how better of a quarterback in your estimation, Larry, is he from that start until right now? Practice today with John Dickinson is at, and also Cam, and we'll speak to him at 2 p.m. But how better is he from that juncture to now?
Well, there's no doubt he's better. He's way better, because he's put in lots of mental reps, lots of physical reps. So people are losing their mind about camp.
But you're the quarterback of the Niners, so I get it, though, Larry.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's just too much. It's too much. The NFL is the most popular sport, so there's tons of media people that are hovering around Santa Clara, and I'm out there on the field, and I'm watching these people. I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with them. Every throw, every person's down in their notebook. Okay, completed that one there. Incomplete there.
Shasky had his notebook out there.
Seriously, put your GD notebook away. In fact, actually take out your Bic and light that bad boy ablaze, because it means jack S. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Why? Because I've seen Nate Sudfeld. I was watching practice the other day. Nate Sudfeld literally was like this. He was throwing passes. He was throwing one back. I caught it too. Wow, you're 1 for 1. I'm 1 for 1. Well,
that's social media, though, Larry. That's what we're doing.
If I threw this thing, if I threw this thing to the corner of Broadway and Battery, guess what? The completion percentage is not going to be the same. So nowhere in there does it say what these passes were. Sudfeld doing checkdowns to phantom running backs who cross his face in a 7-on-7 drill or a team drill with loose coverage is not the same as Lance throwing a 40-yard pass down the field. Lance is going to throw more balls down the field. If you throw more balls down the field, you're going to complete fewer of them. His percentage, is it great? No, but oh my God, we're losing our mind. Trey, now, I mean, people are talking about, is Trey, a bust?
Yeah.
It's like, pump the freaking brakes, everybody.
But you know what? But it's
seriously, let's wait.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you got to show some patience. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. And the word you're looking for too is restraint. And I got to catch myself because you talked about it. This stems from popularity of the sport. We're like crackheads.
We love it.
We can taste it. We want it.
Remember Bill Cosby? That's a good, or Eddie Murphy. That's a good cracker.
Oh, the best cracker ever had.
That's a good cracker.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a 3. Continue Dr. Phil before we leave again today because I played that for the kids. They're like, I'm going to give them an A-. Well, I want to hear from Niner fans. 888-957-9570. Same on the text line. What do you want to see this Friday? But I was saying this all stems from excitement. And again, I'm reading articles now. It wasn't just Trey. It was Mac Jones, second year starter. He's struggling in camp with whatever they're trying to run with no OC. We'll talk about that later. Also, Justin Fields, he's struggling in camp. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going Prince. It's just a sign of the times now that we have, he was 6 of 10. It is ridiculous. But again, it comes from a good place. Like people can't wait. And here we go Friday. I'll feel cheated. And now that you just told me, Larry, there's no game 2, I almost fell out my chair. Like, why is there no game 2 for Trey? I get it. You're trying to preserve him. But, dude, if something is real from what people are writing, forget the stats. If there's struggles and you expect it, and this is his first time starting, and there is pressure, this kid's got immense pressure. Like, damn, you giving him week 2 off?
I mean,
just asking.
No. I mean, they're giving them week 2 off just because they want to get, they're trying to slow play a lot of their veterans. Right. They're trying to minimize the exposure to injuries. It's a copycat league. McVay didn't play any of his big boys in the preseason. They won the freaking Super Bowl. So I think it's a little bit of that, right? Who won? The Rams won. How did they do it? They sat their vets. Maybe we should sit our vets. But once again, it's camp. Right. I mean, are you going to freak out if all of a sudden I tell you, hey, man, I'm on the sidelines of a inter squad game between the Warriors 1s and 2s. Draymond Green's got 9 turnovers in the inter squad game.
Yeah.
Goo, what's wrong with Green?
I got you.
He's got 9 turnovers in the inter squad game. Because you're testing your limits. You're testing. Sometimes
this is when you're supposed to get it out your system.
Draymond will lead guys who and intentionally throw the ball away because he's trying to get Kuminga to cut hard across the lane. So he'll throw that pass and just say, "Hey, you know what? It was on me, but it's really on you because you got to hustle you through the lane." So sometimes the quarterback getting on the same page. It takes some time. Passing takes some time, and if you can't fail in practice, where can you fail?
No, well said. Let's go out to Santa Clara and welcome Adrian. He wants to talk Niners. What's up, A?
Hi, what's up?
You got it. The floor is yours. What's up?
What's going on?
I'm ready for the 49ers game, man. Let's see what we got.
No doubt. No doubt. I think that's the one thing is,
God, I love them.
I do love. I mean, I am that sick guy who's going to watch all the preseason games.
No, and they play it on loop on NFL Network. Like
I won't watch. Like if I'm driving by, if I'm walking through the living room, my kids are sitting around, and all of a sudden I see them watching some random game. Right. I don't watch it. I don't watch random college. I don't watch random NBA. I don't watch random baseball. But man, if I go to the NFL Network and it's midnight and I'm done watching the Giants game's over and I sit down on the couch and, hey, guess what? Bears-Panthers preseason game is on a replay.
Give it to me, baby.
I'm sitting down for Bears-Panthers because I'm that guy.
And I'm just looking around, and we talked last week when the reports came out about Stafford's elbow. Now that I'm listening to McVay, I'm listening to Stafford, I'm not as concerned as I once was, because we were having some fun thinking, was that a locale for Jimmy if it got all bad for him? Obviously, it's something to monitor, but I don't think it's as dire as I thought when the report came out. Something's going on, and it will reveal itself if it's serious. But I just can't ignore the fact that, and we asked for some comps last week, the situation that the Niners faced to where they're ready-made. They were in the NFC Championship game, and you pull the plug on something that worked from an average quarterback. But now here you go with a rookie quarterback, and can Kyle get the ship to still sail in the winning direction? Because, Larry, I'm being real. I'm proud of myself. He can go the Brad Johnson route. He can go the Trent Dilfer route. You can get, feed them baby food. But as long as the team wins and they run more than they pass, I'm with that. I ain't going to come in here and throw chairs. Hey, why didn't Debo go for $180? As long as they win, because this quarterback mystery can't supersede the expectations for the Niners. And some people in Vegas got him picked to go to the Super Bowl, even with the rookie quarterback being inserted. So it's like, hey, Kyle, save all that. Oh, you got to take 2 steps back before. No, you got to get it done. And that's why the most pressure on any Niner going into week 1 in Chi-Town is Kyle.
A lot of pressure on Kyle.
You made this happen. Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing that never gets talked about enough. It's everything in this situation with Garoppolo and Lance. It's about the dollar figures. Nobody wants Jimmy. No, that's not true. Tons of teams want Jimmy. They don't want him at $24 million.
Even the current team.
Right. The Niners, they don't want Jimmy. They want to go with somebody better. They really want to go. They want that reset. They want the rookie quarterback. It's all about, hey, the roster you can build with Jimmy and his $25 million going to him, and versus the roster that you can build with Trey Lance on a rookie deal. That's what it's about. It's not about Trey's for sure better than Jimmy. Now they think Trey's got more upside and he's a little bit more dynamic, but don't kid yourself. It's more about, man, we got to pay Ayuk. Man, we're going to have to pay Greenlaw. Man, we're going to have to pay Aziz. Yeah. Man, we're going to have to pay Bosa. How are we going to pay these guys? We got to have John Lynch and his capologist, Parag Marathe and Kyle Shanahan, when they sat down, they put this on the board, and they said, this is the team that we can build over the next 3 years with Garoppolo at $24 million. And here's another board. This is the team that we can build with Trey Lance as the quarterback on a rookie contract, and that $24 million of Garoppolo spread around here, and here. Which team would we rather have? Well, you know what? There's a whole lot more talent, because with the Trey team has Ayuk and Bosa and Greenlaw and all these guys, where the Jimmy team is going to say wave goodbye to Ayuk and maybe wave goodbye to Greenlaw and wave goodbye to Charvarius Ward and all these.
So it's about the money.
It's about the money and the roster construction with that money. So I mean, there's too much talk about Jimmy versus Trey versus Jimmy. It's Trey in his contract versus Jimmy in a much larger contract.
And it sounds like value. You know what I mean? The value, like we pay Jimmy, what are we really getting with that? Because that's not cheap, 22 to 25 for return on investment, which I can make an argument like, Larry, I wouldn't give that to him, even if I was doing the old, hey, you got us to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game. During the break, you mentioned the Bears. Was it Roquan Smith?
Yeah,
he wants out. And then you gave me some names of teams that might be interested. Now, it was kind of funny because you didn't say the Niners, and that got me to thinking, if you had a magic wand and you talk about those savings that they'll get keeping Jimmy's money, what part of this Niner team would you say you invest? Like, what do they need if they could go get that perfect player? For me, before you answer, it'd be obviously an old lineman, somebody that's done something, and you go, where are you going to find them? But in the football Walmart. But what area of this team is lacking to where, you know what, Goo, they could use some improvement?
That's a great question, because I I don't see like a glaring weakness, right? They're stacked at running back. They're stacked at wide receiver. They've got a lot of young. Now, I guess you
Are they stacked at running back, Larry?
Yes.
They got bodies.
Oh, they got
and they
dudes.
drop every year. That's a Niner thing.
That's the best. That's the best, deepest position on the team
but
right
you're
now.
throwing Trey Sermon, who
Sermon looks great.
Yeah, but did he not look great last year?
He didn't look great last year.
And
And
what
I don't think he got
happened?
along with the running back coach. Well, he just didn't hit the hole. It was too much dancing. He had some bad weight. This year he's lost that weight.
So you think
thinner.
he's ready then?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're putting him in that.
Oh, I love
yeah,
Trey
he's a
Sermon.
body and option, but
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
no, he's-
there's Mitchell, Wilson Jr., but after
Wilson-
that,
I mean, look at this backfield right now. You got Mitchell. Wilson Jr. looks the best he's
I
ever
always
looked.
liked him.
Best
to
he's
stay
ever
healthy.
looked. Trey Sermon right now is lighter, quicker, more decisive. Then you got the kid Mason, the undrafted free
Yeah.
agent out of G-Tech.
Okay.
Serious ball player. Jermichael Hasty, special teamer, but quick and tough. And then they got Ty Davis Price. And Ty Davis Price is probably he's one of the bigger backs they have. He's also one of the faster backs they have. He was in a one-on-one blocking drill on Saturday with Fred Warner, and he was just stonewalling Fred Warner on every block.
Come on.
Seriously, he was just putting Fred Warner on his can.
Fred.
Seriously, Fred Warner was getting was getting no ground against Ty Davis Price. So I'm a partial guy to the LSU recruits, but Ty Davis Price is the real deal. So they got five. I mean, most NFL teams keep 5 backs. Like on paper, they probably keep 4 and Juszczyk. They got 7 dudes there, and they're all looking great. So
wow,
I would not be shocked if the 49ers trade if they emerge healthy out of the preseason. I would not be shocked if they traded a linebacker or a D lineman or a running back or maybe one guy from each spot, because they might be able to get a day 3 pick for guys that they would normally cut. That's how deep they are.
Interesting. And I'll say this about Mitchell. You got to chalk that one up as a win for Lynch and Shanahan, because I was like, oh, it's Mostert. And when that happened, I was like, oh, Larry, it is all bad in San Francisco running back land. And this dude just looked like, I mean, he was great. Like, I didn't see it coming. When we talk about the Niner running back situation, Steiny and I always get into Kyle doesn't like to run a dude, 25 times or more. And we saw that with Mostert, and there's a reason they'll get hurt. Do you look at Mitchell as the leading running back coming into this season as a guy that can carry it? Like, has he proven, should Niner fans expect him to get 20 to 25 tokes?
I mean, if you wanted to have if you said who's, Krueger, I need a fantasy back at 9, off the Niner roster, I'd say you got to go with Mitchell. But just don't feel super confident that he's going to get consistent run, because if he's dinged at all, they got options. So you don't have to play him. Now, he has put on some good weight. He's a little bit thicker, a little stronger. The interesting part about Mitchell is that he ran 4.33, but if you watch him, you don't really see that 4.33 speed, but what you do see, he didn't fumble one time all year.
All right.
I mean, think about
That's
that.
big.
Didn't fumble one time all year.
I just thought of
And
Wendell Tyler.
every single run he finishes going forward. He finishes his run. So he gets 7, he gets popped. He's got great contact balance, but man, he'll just fight and claw and fall forward for that extra half yard. And he does it, he gets 12 carries. He does it 12 times. I mean, so you can't coach that, man. That's desire. So the kid's got tremendous desire.
No, and I think of Rick James, fire and desire. You need both of them. But when you talk about what we talked about yesterday, Ayuk having the great camp, and he's got rapport with young Trey Lance, and the text line 415, Guru's always worried. I'm not. I'm being proactive for the Giants. The math is there. They're not the 27 Yankees. We'll see. But I told you this formula in situation with the Niners, even if it was Terry Bradshaw as the rookie, I would be worried about what you had, the continuity with Jimmy and his imperfections, and what you're about to go out week 1 with. There's a drop-off, just a natural drop-off. So I got my popcorn just like you do to see how Trey's going to handle it. And
you're convinced there's a drop-off?
There has to be. There just has to be, because
really, because
Jimmy's best attribute, and I didn't get this till late.
A lot of mistakes, dude.
Yeah, but he was able to overcome them when it was, go time. And even that Packer game last year that they lost, he got him down there to score. The defense blew that. But in the real time, I was at his head about, you know what? We just need greater. We need the next Steve Young in Montana. And that was my bad. Jimmy's best attribute was the win-loss record. You could say that's not an attribute. That's a team one. Okay, I'll give you that. But when he made that mistake, Larry, and you thought he was one more knockdown, it's over. They're going to stop the fight. He had resiliency and drove the team down. And that's why the season didn't go down the drain. And that's why they got to the NFC Championship. Will Trey have that? And I could be looking at it, from the bottom floor of just have that trait. If we see a 2-interception game early, is he going to be able to bounce back, or will he go in the tank mentally? Those are all things no one really knows how he's going to react, but they're big questions.
It's true, but I mean, think about what you're saying when you're talking about Garoppolo. He bounces back after colossal errors.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
How about don't make a colossal error?
Okay.
And then you don't have to worry about bouncing back. So, I mean, yeah, you're right about Garoppolo. He did show a resiliency. He played some of his best football coming off of some of his, biggest boneheaded decisions on the field. But, man, you talk to a Greg Cosell who just is sitting there watching that film. He'll say, Garoppolo's not a late in the down thrower. And what that means is if the defense can take away that first look and make him survey the field, make him go through his reads and go through his progressions, guess what? He's going to float something late in the down, in the middle of the field, between the hashes, and it's getting picked. So I don't know. I mean, he beat Aaron Rodgers, and to hear the fans talk the day after that game, it was
there you go.
It was like,
he really beat him?
He beat Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers completed 80% that day and was nearly flawless. And Garoppolo threw 3 passes in the second half that should have been all 3 of them should have been duck pick sixes. And they just all 3 were dropped.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? It's like,
but he had some drives where they got a much needed field goal. I'm with you. I'm not defending Jimmy to the point where I'm selling you he's something he wasn't. My thing, Larry, is it worked. It worked even more times than not to get you all to the dance a couple years ago and almost to the dance. And I got so many questions like the 2 starts, and I talked about firing up the Texan game. The Cardinal game, he got hurt, and that
the Cardinal game was a disaster.
And those were runs that what did he run like 16 times?
16
a lot of those
runs,
weren't designed.
But 9 of them were.
That hit he took at the goal line, Larry, like that could have ended your season. And it brings me back to the Geico. What is their Geico after Trey? Because this is the NFL, not for long, and it may not be his fault, but if he were to get hurt, how confident are you in Nate Sudfeld? And the reason I bring that up before the break, Larry, is 2 years ago, I keep going to it. It was musical chairs with Mullins and Beathard, and that team defensively could have went to the offs, but they had nothing after Jimmy went down. Like, is that the same scenario we're facing this year? If something were to happen with Trey, if he were to get hit blindside, Donald hits him up the middle and he's out for 3 or 4 games. I just can't believe Nate Sudfeld is the Geico.
Well, I mean, I will say this. To me, the biggest thing for Trey is he's got to have more fear, appropriate fear.
Okay.
Fear is not a bad thing.
Right.
Fear is a good thing if channeled in the right direction. At the FCS level, yeah, Trey Lance could lower the shoulder and bulldoze dudes, and he did, but at the NFL level, you don't do that. You don't last if you do that. And that's what he tried to do to Isaiah Simmons, who blew him up at the goal line. I mean, you can't do that. You got to avoid those hits. You got to have appropriate fear of NFL defenses and get down. That's my biggest fear is he's got to make sure that he's afraid of the defense enough to preserve, to not take on hits, because quarterbacks do not run over linebackers, or at least if they do, they can't make a habit of it.
You know what? When we get back, Larry, I want to talk to you about Deebo Samuel, because the summer was his, the offseason was his. We didn't know if he wanted to be traded. Now he got his chicken, but Larry, I'm not hearing enough about Deebo in camp. I'm hearing Ayuk and Lance connection, but I want to ask you, let's talk about Deebo and what to expect Friday, if anything, and that'll be discussed when we get back right here on 95.7 The Game. That's all sponsored by Chilton Auto Body.
Give your business the glow up it deserves. Create a website worthy of your brand with Wix.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, no Steiny. He's in Canada camping in the castle. It is Larry Krueger Guru rocking with you until 3. Larry, I got to tell you this. You've worked in radio umpteen years. You're a legend. When your partner goes on vacation, do you let him go on vacation, or do you expect a text? Do you send him a text? How's it going? And the reason I bring that up is my guy Steiny ain't sent me nothing.
Oh, no, because Steiny's a vet, man.
Is he a vet?
If you're the guy going on vacation still listening, if you're the guy going on vacation
I got my hand up a little bit.
Still participating,
I'm a team player, Larry.
You got to get, when you're away, how can I miss you if you won't go away?
Yeah, you know what?
I mean?
I've had a few texts for him, and then I just erase it. I'm like, he'll get at me when he needs to. He'll tell me about it when he gets back.
You know, it's funny.
He's having a good time.
I used to vacation in Tahoe in August.
Tahoe.
Every year. We'd go up to my buddy's house in Tahoe, and he'd give it to me for a week. We'd go to Kings Beach, take the kids,
look at you,
barbecue, bet on some baseball games, hang at the beach. Nothing better than Kings Beach in August. But if I ever flipped on the radio, and man, the look that my wife would give me, the look that my kids would give me, like, Dad, enough, put it to bed, Dad. You're with us. So to me, it's like, if you're away, just be away.
Well, you know what, Larry? I say what people think, and sometimes I blurt stuff out, and we're going to get to it. We got Cam Inman coming up at 2, and then also, This is a passionate subject that you and I have been talking about. Do players in the NBA got too much power? We'll get to that. I think the answer is it's obvious, but we'll get into it. But it's like love making. It's like you leave your partner, then you turn on the radio and you want to see, do they got a dynamic, mate? You know what I'm saying? So I just check in to see if Steiny's doing a show with you or whoever. Not jealous, but you know what I'm saying? Is it fireworks?
I mean, you're thinking while he's camping, he could be like, podcasting somewhere with some new partner?
Not that. When I'm gone, how's it sounding when I'm out?
I hear you.
My heart's in the right place.
Yeah. No, but you know what? You just got to have confidence that, man, the show ain't the same without Goo. You know what I mean?
You know what? And I'm lying. I do. Like, all I can be is me, and there's only one me, just like one you.
Exactly. You cannot be you cannot be replicated, my friend.
I appreciate it. And the reason I can't, I'm holding up to the guys on Twitch, the guys and gals on Twitch and YouTube. I asked Larry for some swag, and bam, I got a black. Who came up with the design for you? Larry Krueger podcast shirt.
The Krueger Show podcast. Check it out on YouTube.
There you go. I don't know. If I had some money, I'd give you some. It was about $20.
You know what? We'll be at the bar in a few hours.
Cafeteria, we call it.
Right.
Yeah, the cafeteria. Yeah,
exactly.
So you asked, we're going to get back on track later. I'm having fun. So you asked me a question last week, Dibs and I, because we do the BetQL Sunday 9 to 1, the gambling show.
Right.
And you go, Goo, and you were kind of Dr. Phil for real. Do you bet on everything? And to our right, we got the screens on in the studio. The Little League World Series is on.
I saw that.
Dibs is Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek on it. He bets on the
wagering
kids.
on the Little League World Series.
Me, I have a standard like, I can't bet on the kids, Larry. Your thoughts with the fair or foul?
Foul.
Don't bet on the kids.
No. Here's the rule of thumb. If you haven't spent a day in high school, don't bet on it. If the competitors are if the competitors aren't shaving, don't bet on them.
Okay.
But by the way, you mentioned the Little League. I'm watching the
Lloyd McClendon,
highlights.
5 for 5 home runs. Former Pirate manager. When he would play in it, yeah.
Jeff Burrows was big in the Little League World Series. But I was watching it today. The pitcher hits the kid in the helmet.
Oh,
right. The kid goes down to first base. He's fine. I hit him in the helmet. But the pitcher, I mean, this is cute. The pitcher was distraught. Right, totally distraught because he hit him.
Yeah,
and you can see he's wrecked on the mound.
And not Bob Gibson.
No, I mean they're kids. They're not trying to hurt each other generally, right? The kids. So the kid's wrecked on the mound, and you can see like he's having a hard time with it. The kid who gets hit in the head goes to first base. Then he takes the helmet off. He walks out to the mound and he hugs the pitcher, and he's like, "Hey, man," I'm sure he was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm fine." And this and that.
You hit me in the car.
I will say this: I don't miss hanging in clubhouses, but I'll tell you the one thing I really enjoyed was being in a big league clubhouse in August when the big leaguers are watching the little leaguers.
Well,
they
dope.
watch it.
Yeah.
They watch
That's
it,
dope.
and the big leaguers love baseball, and they're watching these kids play, and they're talking about it. They're like, look at that kid and look at this kid. And that is cool. I would love to see somebody do kind of a behind the scenes video of big leaguers in a clubhouse watching the little leaguers. You would watch it. You'd be like, it would be very interesting to you to hear their comments about these 12-year-olds and the way they're playing the game.
That's awesome. And speaking of comments, I can hear my boss right now, Guru, what are you doing? Get back on track. We got a saying, back to the Niners. And that's what we're going to do right now, because a lot's been made of, and you're right, it's not just about Trey, but Kyle spoke to the media about how Trey has looked in camp. So let's hear from the Niners leader. Sterling has that cut for us.
It's gone kind of how you expect it. I mean, how you do with every quarterback. You know, I think he's had some real good days. He has had a couple rough days. Thought he had a rough day his last practice, which is going to be good to see how he bounces back today. But I've been real pleased with Trey and real pleased with all three of them.
Well, so it's to be expected. And you're right. What if Steph Curry or LeBron, or I always tell Steiny this, you know, the thing to do now for NBA players in the offseason is IG Live their workouts, and everybody looks like Larry Bird because they're hitting. But let's just say we saw Steph shoot 33-pointers. We would never come back, but Steph's already proven, so that's a bad example. But even Banchero, we're not going to say, oh, Larry was 2 of 12 from 3. We're worried. So from that standpoint, I get we are doing too much on all these quarterbacks, especially a rookie one, our first-year starter. We are, I believe, and to hear my boy JD, the most reserved guy in the business, who don't come with the super hot takes, that's from I do it. But for him to say he was kind of about Trey, that's when I was like, oh, this is heavy.
It'd be like if somebody said, hey, man, I was just over in Alameda and I was watching the Warriors work out and James Wiseman was kicking ass. It's like, all right, for what it's worth.
Talk to me in November.
Well, it's like if they said that to you and Steiny, you'd be like, okay, that's good. It's somewhat notable, but it's not the end all be all. It doesn't even move the needle. It's like, we'll judge for ourselves next time we see him in the preseason or the regular season. So workouts don't mean a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting. And I'll say this, and I told you before the break, I want to know about Debo, because it was all about him this offseason. And Larry, I got to be honest, I'm going Eddie Murphy. There were 48 hours where I thought he might really get traded, because I didn't think it was about money. I thought something personal happened, and I was like, whoa, this is a big deal. And then I was like, he ain't going nowhere. They can't let a commodity like Debo leave. And eventually he didn't leave. He got re-upped. But you know, I took for granted how easy, or I deemed it easy, for the Niners and Jimmy, the byproduct of maybe him not being able to throw the ball at the, outside the hashes, not having the strongest arm. I thought that's what invented the embryo, the inception of Debo with the jet sweeps. That was kind of like, yeah, we got this type of quarterback. I got to really get creative, Kyle. But I wonder, is Trey able to develop that? And when I say, to me, the outside looking in, that's something easy to do. If you're telling me Trey's not going to play week 2, I get it. Debo missing time. How do Niner fans just assume? Like, I want to hear that he's got continuity with his quarterback too, not just Ayuk. Your thoughts on Debo and the connection, or the lack of, with Trey Lance. I want to hear more about, oh yeah, Debo and Trey are hooking up too.
Well, I'll say this. I was at practice Saturday, and the practice ended.
What time does it start? Is that early morning?
Saturday, it was 10:15. Okay. I think 10:15 to 12:15, something like that. So it's now like 12:30. Most of the guys are back in the locker room. Lance and Debo stayed after, and they were.
I love it.
Debo Lance was throwing Debo go routes on the sideline right in front of us, and I couldn't get my camera phone going.
What happened?
Seriously, I mean, I think Dave Lombardi got it. Seriously, I couldn't. But no, he was dropping. He threw 5 or 6 deep balls to him. So they are working on the timing.
I love to hear. I hadn't heard that.
The big question with Debo for me, I mean, he got a lot of mileage last year. I'm not worried about Debo, anything about Debo in camp, other than what does he look like conditioning wise? He had quads, he had hammies, he had soft tissue injuries going back to South Carolina. So I wanted to see in this offseason, where it sounded like maybe he'd be traded, and then he's not going to be traded. He's going to stick around. How hard did he work? How hard did he work on his body? How hard did he work on his legs?
How's he look, Larry?
That's what I'm saying. He looks awesome. He is in incredible shape.
Mike Tyson ready to go.
I mean, I think he's in the best shape I've seen. I mean, he's lean, he's mean. He came into camp in terrific shape. So I don't think he's going to have those soft tissue injuries, knock on wood. But more importantly, Trey and Debo are repping it. And there still needs to, you never can get enough reps with your quarterback, but they're repping it. And they're
I love the fact that they're staying
after practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Niner fans, we want to hear from you. What do you want to see Friday? 888-957-9570. And again, I'll ask my own self that I want to see as much of Trey Lance as possible. And now that you just shared with us that he's not going to play week 2 of the preseason, and there's only, thank God, 3 preseason games for the Niners. Man, Larry, I don't see what the downside would be if he got a whole half. Like, I keep hanging on to that because we've seen it before. And maybe, that was with seasoned quarterbacks like the Dax or other quarterbacks, Carson Wentz early on. They would get a half, Mahomes maybe. But now you're just saying 2-3 series, wham, bam, and then back to the sideline.
I would say at least 2 to 3 series. I would love it if they played him like, let's say a quarter and a half, like deep into the second quarter. And what I want to see is no injuries, and I want to see Trey establish an offensive rhythm of some kind. It's, we know he's got big playability.
Now, when you say rhythm, break that down.
Well, just, that you feel like you're watching a quarterback it's not 3 and out, that he's actually keeping the team on the field, and they're running at least, let's say, 8, 9, 10 plays in succession, so that they're getting into a little bit of an offensive rhythm, because so much about offensive football is a lot about, cohesion, and it's about establishing that rhythm. And that's something that can't be replicated always in practice. So
interesting.
I'd like to see them, obviously stay healthy first and foremost, play Trey, 3, 4, 5 series, and let's see a little bit of rhythm from him. And as far as defense, I just want to see the young players fired. I want to see Drake Jackson. I want to see the young DBs. There's a lot of young DBs that are going to be fighting for jobs here. And there's some great young linebackers. I want to see some of the young players and find out what kind of depth they have on the defensive side.
Yeah, speaking of depth, producer E sent us this morning on the thread, the depth chart came out.
Yeah, first
one of
one
the year for the Niners. And you talked about Drake Jackson. But before we get to him, that quarterback, I'm a big analogy guy or example, the metaphors or what have you. I always look at a good quarterback like Steve Young in his prime, Montana, Big Ben in his prime, A-Rod. They're like point guards. And when they get in that rhythm, you know what I'm saying? You can just tell if it's audible. They know what they're seeing, what the defense is trying to do, but yet the offense is just moving down the field. And when you talk about the good quarterbacks like Warren Moon in his prime, it's almost like unstoppable, because like a machine, they're just toying with the defense. So when you said that word rhythm, I always think of the good quarterbacks is great point. The good point guards running a great offense.
That's a great comparison. Take what the defense gives you
all day
right?
long. All day long.
And then take some shots. Take some shots down the field. Let's see. As I said, under Garoppolo, one of the main reasons Lance is here is because the Niners had no downfield passing attack to speak of.
Damn.
In this camp, we've seen Danny Gray get down the field. We've seen Ray McLeod get loose down the field. So I'd like to see them push the ball down the field, take a few more chances, rep that a little bit more. I want to see that, because that's a dynamic that this offense really hasn't had. And if you can put that on film, even preseason wise, I think that creates a lot of room for the Debos, the Ayuks, the Kittles underneath.
And just saying that, because that was truth, that the defense knew that wasn't Jimmy's game, and they weren't going to, outside of the Saint game 2 years ago, when he looked like, again, Y.A. Tittle, Bart Starr back there throwing the ball deep. Now, there was one pass he caught where the DB could have jumped 2 or 3 times. He misjudged it in the air, but that's Jimmy's staple game to me, where it was just, I'm here and I'm letting it go. I'm a gunslinger. But, man, that's got to be tiresome. But almost I give more love to Kyle, that he had, we'll call it a limitation on his offense, but yet they still were able to get to a Super Bowl and 2 NFC championships without that, hey, we got the Niners and Jimmy. What don't we got to worry about? the deep threat. Like, I just can't believe defenses couldn't take advantage of the Niners to the point to where they won or came as close to winning as much as they did.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to Shanahan and Shanahan's offensive play calling acumen and his, if you want to call it genius. I mean, his run pass fusion, what they call run pass fusion, which is his play action pass game mirrors the run game to a point where defenders are just totally fooled, and he'll get that middle linebacker or safety and put that person in conflict and then just go right at him. I mean, it's funny. You talk to Kyle, you start talking to him about his play calling and how ruthless he is, and you get this little grin on his face because he knows, man. When he sees a weakness, he attacks it like a shark and blood-filled
What happened
waters.
in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs? You should have kept running the ball. Oh, like if you said that to him right now, if he was sitting right next to us, you think he would own that? Like, Goo, Larry, I did do too much on that. I should have just kept running the ball, because the Honey Badger, those comments, I've never heard a defender say we had nothing for him had they kept running. I wanted to send a gift basket every time they threw it.
Yeah, I mean, in that Chiefs game, I just think that the 49ers blew that game at the end of the first half by not being aggressive enough. You knew Kansas City with Hill and Kelsey and Mahomes and Andy Reid's offense, they were going to explode. That was an explosive offense, and you had to know they were coming with a big push in the second half. And I thought the Niners and Shanahan got way too conservative at the end of the first half. They let the clock run down at the end of the first half. They should have had the
and Lynch was looking like Darth Vader up there, and Steiny and I went 15 rounds on. Well, they didn't want to give the ball back to Mahomes. F that.
Yeah.
You got to go get something.
And also,
Be aggressive.
Be aggressive. You're going up against a team that's got explosive offensive capability. You weren't going to keep them down the whole game, and you didn't. And to me, you had to take advantage of every scoring opportunity. And I thought they weren't as aggressive as they needed to be in the first half. They got run over in the second half. I mean, if that game was 10 minutes shorter, they win that game. But if that game is 10
just
minutes
like last in LA,
but if that game was 10 minutes longer, they would have lost by more. I mean, that's how rolling the Chiefs were. So I just thought Niners were a little too conservative.
We're going to clean up these calls. We're going to go to Jeff and Concord. But before we do, I'm thinking of the Jimmy Garoppolo era and two signature plays by the defense. And I know you talked about it, Goo, the Tart play, because that just stays with me. It's a 60-minute game. That was just one. Mosley's bonehead play in the Super Bowl in the 3rd and forever. Okay, he gave that up. And then Tart and our catching the touchdown. Those are two monumental plays that if Jimmy's teammates make and help we could be talking about a 2-time Super Bowl winner,
Don't forget the push off against Kittle.
Yeah.
I thought was phantom.
But that
was a huge play, man. That was a huge play.
It was, Larry, but there was a lot of game left.
How about the ridiculous, serial holding of Nick Bosa in that game?
Oh, which they didn't call.
Yeah.
And what about
that was the wrong time
that Mahomes is able to fall on it? Remember that one later?
Yeah.
Dude, I said it that way. Anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Let's go out to Concord and welcome Jeff. He wants to talk about the state of the Niners O-line.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to address the state of the line. I feel like this is going to be the Achilles heel of the team. And a guy like J.C. Treader, who's out there, I know he's been injured. I know he might cost a lot of money, but he seems like the perfect fit for what the missing link might be to actually getting to the Super Bowl. I'm just curious if, Larry, if the Niners have even talked to him. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they've talked to him. You got to remember this, though. He is a veteran center. He's been out there for months. Nobody's touching him. Why is that? Because that knee and some of the injuries he's had. From what I've poked around a little bit about J.C. Treader. From what I've heard, the body's wrecked. He's
damaged goods.
Well, I mean, he's an older player. I mean, everybody who plays as long as this guy's played have something that ails them. But from what I heard, the body's wrecked, and that he's not the player that he was. So, and also you got to remember this: they do like some of the players. They have they have Brendel and Brunskill battling it out at the center spot. Brunskill's really struggled to get the snaps up to Lance. But don't forget, they've got this kid Poe out of Mercer, who is really strong. I mean, he put Akeem Spence on his can in a one-on-one the other day.
Is it realistic he could win the job? Because I'm saying if Brunskill can't get it and he's struggling giving them the snap, at what juncture during the season, if that becomes a problem, Larry, when would you make a switch? And that would be like a nightmare.
Well, I mean, I think this preseason is going to be a big evaluation mode for the offensive line. I mean, I think even though they've got Brendel and Brunskill listed there, if those guys fall on their face, I wouldn't be surprised to see Poe. I wouldn't be surprised to see Zakel. They've got other options in this camp. If they go through those options and they explore all that stuff and they still feel towards the end of this thing in a couple weeks that they need help, then they might go outside the organization. But from what I'm hearing about Treader specifically, I hear he's kind of beat up.
Let's go out to our boy Townie's hometown, San Jose, and welcome Joe to the program. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's
hey,
up?
I'm not a 49er fan, but I do. I got a guy I call once in a while. How many games do you think they're going to win? And what is the I know they're good. I know they're a good team, but that's a lot of pressure. If you think they're going to go to the Super Bowl and put on this kid that hasn't played. I just want to get some feedback on that. And Guru, you're the guy.
Oh, that's my look at him, man. Who's that? That's my guy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, they had to decide, do they feel like Jimmy gives them enough, or and I don't, we talk so much about the player, but as I said before to Guru, I think that it's a lot about the contract and what the roster looks like with the quarterback on the rookie deal, as opposed to the contract with the quarterback making $25 million. I think that's really more about why they're switching jockeys midstream. And as far as the Super Bowl, yeah, I mean, it's, there's a reason that no rookie quarterback has ever won the Super Bowl. And technically Trey's not a rookie, but it's a learning curve. I mean, there's a tremendous learning curve, but I guess they felt like in their estimation, it was worth it to take a shot on a player that has more upside and also be able to retain all these terrific football players they spent the last 3 years accumulating. I felt like, that to me is the game plan. And if they fall short this year, they probably wouldn't admit it, but they would probably say, you know what, as long as Trey is our guy going forward and we believe in him and he gives us reason to believe, we're okay, falling short this year if we're building towards something in a year or two.
No problem. I'm not mad at that. Let's go out to Leroy before we hit break. What's up, Leroy?
Hey, Goo.
Hey.
Goo. Man, look. Hey. Man, I'm enjoying both of you guys, man. I miss Steiny, but I'm enjoying both of you guys, man. I just want to throw this in real quick about Trey. I was listening to Steve Young about maybe 2 weeks ago, and he was saying for Trey Young, what he needs to concentrate on, and I agree, is identifying the targets as the play unfolds, right? And so, in order to do that, though, you have to be a pretty decent deliverer of the football. And right now, that's not his best quality. And I'm sure they're working on that, but delivering the football, hey, you get to identify targets, right? You got to be able to deliver it. But here's the thing, what I do like about Trey is what Kyle Shanahan likes about Trey. And that's his ability, his processing ability to find the open guy. And I think nobody talks about that enough. Kyle says, hey, this guy can find open guys. He's pretty smart between the ears. And I think that's been a question with Trey because they've been taking so long to play him. Like, oh, is he picking up the playbook? Is he? But I think he is. I think Kyle Shanahan was just waiting. So I just think he needs to work on, delivering that football. And again, that's not his best quality right now, but, he's under professional tutelage, and I think he could get it done. But I like what Kyle Shanahan likes about him. His processing ability to find the open guy. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Larry, when we get back, we'll get into the Trey Lance and his ability to go through the progressions. Right here is Larry and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Spend your mornings with the Morning Roast. I don't
Larry? Time flies when you're having fun, man. We
Seriously,
got
man.
85 minutes left. Not that I'm counting, but it's going fast. And
Seriously.
you got to win. Let's put the rat on the table. You're over there gloating. I'm looking at you. Why is he? You won Joffrey, man. I'm kind of PO'd. I wanted to go Drake back to back.
I didn't really win. I dominated. I mean,
now I'm about to throw up in my mouth.
I kind of dominated.
Yeah, you got lucky.
I really didn't know what
You hear this?
Didn't even-
Sterling, you hear this guy?
I really had no idea what I was doing, but I kind of dominated.
Pretty much a show and go too. Just walk right in, get in there, pick up the W.
That is the other part. Wow.
Exactly. I mean,
Now, look at him. He's like, you feel good.
I was like G-Rad today. I just strolled right in and just kicked ass.
We got tomorrow too, because we'll be rocking and rolling tomorrow.
See, if I knew that, I wouldn't have talked so much ass.
Yeah, so now I'm really I can't study because they don't tip me off, but I did try to buy the answers back in the day. We'd have the producers. I was on a losing streak. I tried to maybe $30. I won't reveal the guy's name, but to his credit, he said no. But I was thirsty, Larry. I needed to win. Don't judge me. Now, a lot's been made about Trey Lance and Camp and the Niners, obviously, but there was a retirement today. I woke up to it. It's the great Serena Williams.
Yes.
I think to myself, like, I think of Johnny Mack, Chris Everett, all the great tennis players, men and women, but she may be the GOAT. And if you didn't want to limit her when you talk about accolades and just chips, Larry, we could be talking about one of the greatest athletes. I would forget women, athletes of all time. When I say Serena Williams to you, what comes to mind?
Longevity in tennis, 27-year career. I mean,
that's amazing.
And also just, tennis is unlike the other sports, Goo, because they're basically girls.
Okay.
And then they're women. You know what I mean? You're starting at 15, 16.
We saw the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
rest in peace to her pops, Richard Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it yet. Is it a good movie?
Oh, it's great.
I've been tempted
after
to
the
go
Will
see it.
slap. I was turned off, but I saw it before. But I'm still mad at Will for slapping Chris. But yeah, you'll get through it. It's a great flick.
I get torn feelings about Serena. I mean, one, that if you've seen the backstory on ESPN and her deal with the line judge where she freaked out on him and she was
Where
screaming.
can I find it? See, that's up my alley.
Just go to YouTube and type in the backstory. Don Van Atta, who used to be in the Clinton White House, is now at ESPN. He's got this show called The Backstory. They did one on Pete Rose, one on Manti Te'o, and they did one on Serena. Yeah, man, the catfish whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But they did one on Serena about this call with the line judge, and she was just, she basically, the line judge thought that she was communicating with her coach who was in the stands.
Okay.
And he basically called her out. And she was like, the fact that she had her integrity questioned, she lost it. And she couldn't get it back. I mean, she was just, totally went crazy.
So there's video of her.
Oh yeah, and it goes into it. They interview her. They
it was
interview
against
the line
Osaka.
judge. It's a really good. It was a really, really good piece, and it kind of shows how how emotional she is. But you know what? She was an incredible. I mean, I thought Venus was the better of the two.
So did her. No, her dad didn't. Her dad knew it was going to be Serena.
Yeah, her dad always predicted Serena. But yeah, I mean, was 23 Grand Slam titles, 27-year career,
and she didn't come from a silver spoon. That's why I just love Richard for what he did and his ability to believe in his girls, and not just Serena. As great as she was, Venus had success, but to come from the environment and come to LA where they were. To be without a lot of stuff, but they weren't without love and they weren't without a plan. And for her to reach these heights, again, I don't want to put any limitations on her, because I know, Larry, as a station in years past, we did, top 5 greatest athletes, top 10. And she had come up. Like, I don't just put her in a women's category. She was, if you want to call her the GOAT, I'm okay with that, and people could make their own argument. But sad to see her go. And you said what, 27 years?
27 years, and just a ton of winning. And the only thing I will say is that when she had her matches against Venus, I was always disappointed in
wow.
In I always thought, man, because my brother's 5 years older than me. We played everything together. We played basketball. We played baseball.
What's his name?
Chris.
Okay.
And he was 6'5". I'm only 6'1" and change. So I started. In fact, I developed my outside shot. I shot the ball really high.
Jamal Wilkes.
Really high release because my brother was so tall. He blocked my stuff. I mean, he'd block my shot all the time, and so that's how I kind of developed my shooting. But you know what? I battled my brother, and I wanted to beat him bad. You know what I mean? And I just felt like
sister.
Her and her sister, those were the disappointing matches to me, because I thought, oh man, this is going to be incredible. Venus against Serena, and they're going to go for blood. But instead, they didn't. It was always somewhat disappointing. They had such affinity and love for each other that I don't think their teeth really came out the way they did.
But Serena dominated that too, though.
Matchups.
The head-to-head matchup.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but
I mean, an incredible career, an absolute incredible career, and what more can you say? One of the greatest athletes in American history,
no doubt. Well said. And we were talking about Trey Lance on the other side.
She was 14, by the way, when she started her career,
and
14.
That's what's incredible. And just how he would get them to the establishments to where you'd have money. And I forget, was it Sampras? It was he's like, watch my girls in the movie. Yeah, Sampras. And then watch him hit. Richard would be Don King, basically, and he knew he had something. And I know he's looking down with tears in his eyes just on her career, because he had a big part to do with it, almost like Tiger's dad,
Yeah,
without the trailer.
And it all, yeah.
Why did I do that?
Without the trailer?
But that would have wrecked me. I would have went and told Mom.
Did you see the documentary, the two-parter on was it Showtime or was HBO Max?
It was incredible. Tiger, man.
The fact that Earl parked the Winnebago.
I asked. I'm cutting you off, Larry. Go ahead, man. I'm excited.
And was getting some love.
Do you think Tiger? I asked Steiny. Steiny was like, "Hell yeah!" You think Tiger knew what was going on with Pops?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's Tiger. I mean, the fact that Earl was a serial cheater was passed on to Tiger for sure. I don't think there's any question about that. We're all products of our environment and what our parents passed to us. But what I really admire is that you think of being in the public limelight at 14, and the just how poised Venus and Serena were. They didn't have. I mean, think about it. If you had to be, judged for what you say and how you act from,
I'd have been like the teen actors 14, and actresses.
Yeah.
They don't make it, and things get hard, and you rebel because you don't know.
Those are that. Formative years. I mean, I'm almost all the worst mistakes I made in my life, I think I made between like 18 and 22. So the fact that she was a pro at 14 and thrust into that limelight and that kind of national media and the scrutiny and everything that comes along with it. Is there great things, money and fame? Sure. But that's a heavy burden to bear when you're 14 years old. And I thought she did it. I thought her and Venus did it, with class and grace,
and nothing off the field ever, as far that I know in regard to drama.
Totally,
so they kept the family name clean. Let's go out to Napa and welcome Rolando, Larry, to the program. What's up, Ro?
How's it going, you guys? Larry, I'm a big fan of yours. I honestly remember I used to be Rolando for Palo Alto. I used to call in the old network where I used to be in the great you and Gary. I would love calling you guys and dropping my old Gary-isms like
good to hear. Good to hear from you, man. Thanks for following me over here.
I'm happy you're over, Larry, and hopefully you get to stay on 957 because you are. I love what you say. You always keep it real, and I want to talk about my Niners, and especially I want to talk about this year. It's particularly about Nick Bosa. Going back to 2019, Larry, I knew that the Arizona was going to mess up the draft when he drafted Kyler, and when Nick Bosa came number 2, I was like, thank God you guys took Kyler, because I'm telling you something, man. Arizona is a dumpster fire. I mean, when you draft a quarterback who prioritizes Call of Duty over the playbook, that's a big problem, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kyler. I know people who, I'm an A&M fan, so I know people who knew him at A&M who swear that he's a great kid. So I won't say a damn thing wrong. I won't criticize Kyler, but yeah, I mean, that's only thing I had. My concern in that draft was just the core muscle and how little Bosa played in college, and I thought, man, this guy might just be one of those guys that just is always in, it's like an incredible Italian sports car. It's awesome, but it's always in the shop. I thought he was going to be that kind of player, but man, Bosa, he shows up and he plays. And the guys, I don't think I've ever seen a defensive end whose hands and feet are so tied together. There's no wasted movement. He is fundamentally perfect. And watching him on the practice field, they got this one drill, Goo, where these guys are running zigzags, kind of mocking up a pass rush drill. And everybody does it quick. Bosa does it electric. He's no wasted steps. It's just you can tell the guy has been groomed his whole life for this, to rush the passer.
It's in his blood,
and that's what he does.
And what about
he does it almost better than anybody?
Yeah, teams chip him. I've never, and I mean this. He gets off the ground like a cat. As big as he is, and strong as he is, and powerful as he is, when he gets chipped and he gets to the ground, he gets his ability to get back up. It's almost superhero-like. Some dudes get to the ground, I got to get back up. He pops right back up. And I'm like, damn, dude is in tip-top shape. Almost like I just call it superhero type quality.
Oh, and he can beat you with power. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with strength. He can beat you head on, stripe on a stripe, bull rush you. The guy, he can beat you to the edge. He's got counters. The guy's got a full. If he was a major league pitcher, he'd have like 9 pitches.
Yeah, no doubt. That I like that. Oh God, Larry. It looks like Richard Williams is, not in the best of health, but he's still with us. Yeah.
Oh,
we got a little thing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Don't I love you, Richard. You're not the first one to make that mistake.
We got a little thing. Dibs and I, when we used to do a show together, we put them in there and they weren't there, so we got to go back and correct.
I told you. I told you my Niner pregame story from way back.
No, please do.
I'm doing a Niner pregame, and I won't say what Niner, but there was a 49er player, and a guy calls up. He's like, "Hey, I saw this guy and that guy, and have you seen him?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just saw him the other day." Those guys are doing great. And then we go to the commercial and the lines are ringing. I'm in the control room. The producer's like, "Hey, bro, you might want to come in here." So I go in, I go, "What's the problem?" I go, "Who are all these calls?" And he's like, our co-host here just said he saw this player and that player recently.
Oh, no.
Said both those guys have been dead for like five or 6 years.
Yeah. That's worse than what I did. Yeah. Yeah. And that's good news. He's still with us. But what do you say to that? You didn't see him.
Yeah. That's when.
Is that a lie?
Yeah. Well, I
think that's a lie.
I think, that's part of the skill of sitting here is you got to know what you know versus what you suspect.
Yeah. It ain't Hollywood. It ain't theater. Wow. But good news.
I just saw that guy, man. He's doing great. Wow. He's doing phenomenal. Excuse me. He's been gone for 7 years and his family's on line 1.
I got to ask you this, Larry, and the people want to know, how did he respond to that? Did he say he thought it was somebody else?
Let's just say he was a fun-loving ex-Niner and people just allowed him to apologize and get down the road.
Yeah. Let's go out to Alameda. Carlito is on the line. What's up, Carlito?
Hello, gentlemen. I want to piggyback on a previous caller that said something about Kyler Murray and Call of Duty. There's nothing wrong with Call of Duty and Madden and playing all these games as long as you win. If you win, it's okay. Here's my thing with a lot of these NFC teams. I don't think there's a lot of talent in a lot of NFC teams. Let me ask you guys, who's the biggest threat? No disrespect to Guru. The Cowboys are a mess. I'm not scared of the Cowboys. I just think the Rams and the Buccaneers. What do you guys think? Thank you, guys.
I think the Rams are going to backslide this year.
Okay, why?
Because the Rams are super, super thin. And when
you say super thin, where? Because
everywhere. Who's their backup quarterback? John Wofford.
Well, I could say the same thing for the Niners, Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah, but
that's John Wofford.
You go look. The Rams are paying the top of their roster, the Ramseys, the Donalds, the Staffords. They're paying those guys top dollar, and so they're thin. Like they don't have their backups. Like the Niners backups. Just the Niner backups who get cut in this camp will all wind up going somewhere else and playing. The Rams have some guys who are going to be cut that are never going to play in the NFL ever. They're a lot thinner as far as just a baseline talent on their roster. I mean, I could bust out their roster and chapter and verse it for you, but it would bore the entire audience. They're relatively thin because of how much money they're spending on their star players. So I don't know about the Rams.
Let me ask you
this. I think the
this.
Rams backslide this year.
Okay.
I
got him in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah,
They're
I
going
do.
back to back.
Yeah, I
What?
do.
Really?
And I'll tell you this, Larry,
That's
you
shocking.
are right, but let's just say they get the benefit of good health. They know who they are, and they're not going from an Android to an iPhone like the Niners are with Trey to Jimmy. And you can, whichever one is which, but Trey is supposed to be greater. This is a big mega question about the Niners' success is on this young kid's shoulders. And can Kyle get him ready? And if he does struggle, it'll just be for a week or a couple weeks. Forget health. This is a major, major change. So I'm not saying Kyle can't do it and Trey can't do it, but I'm watching. The Rams don't have to worry about that. Now, you got the elbow issue already. We'll see if it rears its head. My question to you,
Can they win with John Wofford?
I wouldn't. Well,
Can they
I
win
didn't
with
put them in the
Bryce
Super Bowl
Perkins?
with him. I would say that'd be game over.
They lost their left tackle Whitworth.
Okay, that's a big loss.
OBJ's not there.
But the Niners,
They brought in Allen Robinson.
outside of the Niners, outside of Trent Williams, the whole O-line is a question mark.
That is true. But the Niners have, I think, have greater depth on their O-line.
And that's
I
was going D-line. This is our fifth show, Larry. I don't know if you know it. And we haven't talked much about Kinlaw. And he kind of came up, but we hadn't got into him. If something were to happen to Bosa, do you look at Kinlaw like this is going to be his breakout season? Because he's got the body, but is he ready? Like, again, if you're looking at the Rams through that prism of, man, they're thin. What if something were to happen to Bosa? Would Armstead be able to be the guy and get help from Kinlaw and the rest of the gang? That I don't know, but that's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this about Kinlaw. It's really about health, because if he's healthy, the way he plays is just fine. I mean, he's strong. You got to combo block him. He can split that combo block. He can play the inside run. It's not about, can he do it? It's just about that knee. And is the knee chronic? And can he get out there for 16 games? And if not, then that's a big question. So to me, he's got to, if Kinlaw's healthy, I'm not questioning anything about his game. I'm questioning just the health.
And it's incredible,
and
right?
As far as the NFC, I mean, I kind of agree with the caller. I think the NFC is pretty lean. I mean,
I expect Green Bay to go the other way. That's a big loss, Devontae Adams.
They did, but they picked up. People don't know these names, but Romeo Doubs, who played at Nevada, looked great in their camp, and they've got Christian Watson, who played with Trey at North Dakota State. Okay. They got some young receivers.
But you're going to miss Devontae Adams,
no question.
Okay,
but they're still the class of that division. So Green Bay is the class of that division, in my opinion.
No Tampa.
They're not in that division.
Oh yeah,
they're in with Carolina and the Saints. Saints just lost Jameis Winston.
Help me, yeah.
To start it off. I mean, I don't see a great team in the NFC South. I don't see a great team outside of Green Bay in the NFC North.
There's not one in the East.
The East is down. Yeah. So I mean, I agree with the caller. I think. Like, who is the Niners' number one competition?
It's got to be the Rams, who beat them to go to the Super Bowl.
I would say it's the Bucs. I would say it's the Bucs.
I'm not mad
Brady.
at that because of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I would say the Bucs are probably, Bucs, Packers, Rams, and then it's a question. I mean, is it your Cowboys? I don't know. I like the Cowboys.
If I had
to
bet, I would say no. They got a defense.
Is it Philly? I'm not a believer in Jalen Hurts.
Oh, me neither. What don't you like about him, Larry?
I just don't think he throws a deep ball with any consistency, and I don't see consistency overall in his game. I see week to week. Some weeks he looks terrific. Yeah. Other weeks he doesn't. So,
and what's sad about
they're going to run it better than they have in the past.
Is we're going to go to Vince. He wants to ask you about Kyler Murray. And I'm down on Kyler. The Cardinals were not an answer.
No, I don't. Wow, I don't think I think the Cardinals
number 1 seed up. They're not going to have 12.
Well, yeah, but the Cardinals are not going to have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks of the year.
That hurts.
They don't have. I mean, what's their running back depth? I mean, is it James Conner and then what?
Then what?
So I mean, it's I think Cardinals. I think Cardinals are one of the disappointing teams, or going to be one of the disappointing teams. In fact, I just read an article this morning.
And the coach and quarterback get re-upped.
Well, they just had an article about who are the most disappointing teams in the NFL, and it was a Bleacher Report article. So, you never know. But they threw out these teams: Arizona, Dallas, Tennessee, Baltimore, Green Bay, New England, and Chicago. And outside of Green Bay, I don't think Green Bay is going to be disappointing. I think the rest of those teams potentially. I mean, Baltimore, I'm not sure about, but Arizona, Dallas, Tennessee, New England, Chicago, I could also be disappointed.
Oh, I'm totally with you. I'll tell you what, before the break, let's go grab Vince from San Jose. What's up, Vince?
Hey, Guru, JD, what's going on, fellas?
Well, it's Guru and Larry Krueger, baby.
Yeah. Thanks, though.
Oh, my bad, Larry. I'm sorry, Larry. Are you serious?
That's good.
I'll take JD. You know, what
I
the
had
heck?
Richard Williams dead. He's not. Go ahead, baby.
I got my Steiny blues. I'm missing Steiny, baby. He's probably 3 or 4 drinks deep right now.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, who knows?
I know it, but I tell you, is it fair or foul, the whole thing going on with Kyler Murray? They're paying him a boatload of money, and he does deserve it. He's a phenomenal athlete. He reads the field fairly well, does need to work on a little, some of the fundamental stuff on that side of the ball. Do you think it's fair or foul what the Cardinals are doing to him? I mean, at some point, you are playing too much video games. You need to use that focus and energy, put it into some film study. There's so many different things you can do to make yourself a better player. What do you guys think?
I think we're being too critical. I think we're being too critical of Kyler. Did he play poorly? Last time we saw him with the terrible turnover off his back foot.
That was one of the
zone.
worst picks I think I've ever seen.
Terrible. But was he the reason for the backslide, or was it Kingsbury? I mean,
it's a combo, round table, combination.
You still got to give him his. I mean, let's look at his numbers last year: 70% completion percentage, 24 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Okay, how much of that was up until week 12? And there's a fall off between these two together.
No question.
Every year they just get lemon booty, Larry. So if you want to say it's Cliff, you want to say it keeps happening. And I'll say this: unfair, fair. This dude's got generational wealth. They just paid him, but told the world we don't like his study habits. So I have no problem with that. But the play backs up, man. There's a disconnect. You're not getting better when it's go time. And if that's Cliff, they got to fix it, but both of them got paid.
Yeah, I mean, they know him better than we know him, and they're basically telling us,
no doubt about it.
In that contract, they told us that they are questioning his work ethic and his professionalism. But the guy, 49ers have had a hard time beating Arizona with Kyler. He's really hard to run down.
Yeah.
I don't, for a tiny little quarterback, I don't see him getting passes batted into his back in his face. I'll see a guy that runs for almost 5 yards a pop on the ground. So he can beat you as a runner. He can beat you as a passer. I like Kyler. I really do. And I think there's been too much discussed about what he isn't.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when we get back, Larry, I've been waiting for this. We're going to get into NBA players. They got too much power in the saga that's going on in Brooklyn. You're listening to Larry and Daryle the Guru Johnson on 95.7 The Game.
The GOAT is back.
Young throws deep over the middle for Rice, and he's got it. And there he goes. And Jerry Rice wins. Touchdown.
Jerry Rice returns to the morning roast.
Did the Niners just land a Porsche or upgrade in a Ferrari with Trey Lance?
They have that Ferrari.
The best 49ers coverage is right here on 95.7 The Game.
Now with Xfinity, you'll get unlimited internet with gig speed and supersonic Wi-Fi. With a 2-year internet rate guarantee, no annual contract required, and no equipment fees. Talk about knock your socks off. Ooh, plus a free Flex 4K streaming box. It's like hitting the streaming jackpot. It's all just $50 a month when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. $50 a month. A price that's truly jaw-dropping.
Oh, literally.
The speed you need at a price you want. Value that's simply bananas. That's the new Xfinity Supersonic Bundle. It's kind of a big deal. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit internet customers only. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
If you're a professional builder or designer, here's some good news from Golden State Lumber. Their relationships with Capital Lumber, Cal Cascade, Humboldt Sawmill, and others have led to an increase in lumber inventory. Golden State strives to deliver most materials the next day, if not the same day. Be sure to download the Golden State app, which provides access to hundreds of resources. Find it at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Life is hard enough, but BMW ownership shouldn't be. BMW of Fairfield understands that time is your most precious resource, and making time for automotive service can be challenging. So we offer a team of mobile service technicians who will come to you when you need maintenance on your BMW. Contact the BMW of Fairfield Mobile Service Concierge to schedule your appointment. There is a better way to service BMW. Visit bmwfairfield.com/mobile service to book your appointment.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Hey, Walter, how did Andro 400 work for you?
I had great results. I lost 70 pounds. A lot of people say to me, how did you lose the weight? I said, I take Andro 400 every day. I weighed 265 and went down to 195. My doctor told me, if it works for you, then do it. I'm going to take it forever.
Wow, losing 70 pounds. That's fantastic. Hey, Stephen, how did Andro 400 work for you?
It has really worked. I've lost 35 pounds. It's just
Our software is the worst.
Have you heard of HubSpot? See, most CRMs are a cobbled together mess, but HubSpot is easy to adopt and actually looks gorgeous.
I think I love our new CRM. Our software is the best.
HubSpot. Grow better.
Hi, my name is Chris Wilhoit. My wife and I own Miracle Movers. Miracle Movers is a full-service moving company. We offer a wide array of different services, from packing to unpacking, local, long distance, storage, anything to do with moving, we do it. We offer some of the best pricing for any full-service moving company in town. We offer free in-home estimates to perform your job in a professional manner. We have a full-service storage facility here, climate controlled. From start to finish, you know your belongings will be cared for and protected while in storage here at Miracle Movers. Here at Miracle Movers, our employees are our heartbeat. Everyone is background checked and is a full-time employee. We do not use any subcontract laborers. Everybody here is full-time, so you know the people that we bring into your home are people that we trust in our own home. At Miracle Movers, your property is our priority. We look forward to having our family help your family with your upcoming move.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
No Steiny today. It is Larry Krueger and myself. We got you locked in until 3 p.m. And right now, we got the man, the myth, the legend, who will be joining us here shortly, Larry. And we're going to talk to him. You've been at camp. JD's been at camp. But Cam Inman has been at camp. What's up, Cam? How are you?
I've just been working on my technique and getting better every day.
There you go. Long as no hammy pulls or lat pulls, you'll be fine, right?
I reported to camp in the worst shape of my life, but we're getting there. We're working on it every day, so it's all good. Actually, the camp's gone, I'd say, pretty much as expected, if not better, because all eyes are on Lance, and he's been up and down, but that's good because that means he's taken some chances. He's kind of learning some limitations and what he needs to work on. And then I think the other, priority at training camp is just you don't want season-ending injuries. And they've had two this camp, but they were kind of the roster bubble guys with Maurice Hurst and Jordan Matthews. So you just kind of knock on wood and hope they can get through the next, 4 weeks and get to Soldier Field with a full complement of guys around Trey Lance ready to go.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, by the way, nice play on the sidelines the other day. Cam made an incredible play on the sidelines there. It has to be noted and should be recorded for everybody to know. No, but what's Trey, in your mind, what's been the Trey's biggest issue? Because I'm seeing him throw dimes when he goes down the field, but he seems like it's that sideline pass, let's say 8 to 12 yards, and it's just, he's all over the place with it. Is anybody talking about, is there any common denominators of that struggle?
And you're right, because sometimes he just sails them pretty high and wide, right? And so that's why it's a guy that hasn't practiced or played much football over the last couple of years. So I think he's figuring it out. When Brandon Ayuk, after Sunday's practice, Ayuk kind of defended him saying, look, his arm might be tired the way our legs get tired, which all of a sudden you're going, oh no, there's that arm fatigue stuff again. But I don't sense that his arm's tired at all. Today he was really sharp. He was hitting guys in stride. I think he's a young quarterback figuring it out. And Ray McLeod came in to the media session after practice today, and I asked him just what he's seen out of Trey, and he brought up a really good comparison, kind of an obvious one that a lot of people have talked about, of comparing Trey Lance to a young Josh Allen. And Ray McLeod broke in with the 2018 Bills the same time Josh Allen did. And he says he senses that same type of, I'm going to take the next step energy going in from year 1 to year 2 that he sees out of Lance. And I do too. Technique wise and everything, it'll get worked out. Today was Trey's best day. Not necessarily just passing, because I think he was 14 of 19 with no interceptions. And he hit guys in stride and pass look better. But they finally kind of unleashed his own read today. There were a lot more runs by Trey Lance. I think he had 4 or 5 runs, designed runs, either zone read or keepers or bootlegs. And, Larry, you've seen it. When you have that offense with the full complement of guys out there, including Kittle and Trent Williams, McGlinchey, and Mitchell, that's what it's supposed to look like, right? It hasn't been always pretty this camp, but like today was what you want to see.
Larry Krueger, Daryle the Guru Johnson on 95.7 The Game. It's our pleasure to have Cam Inman, who's been at camp, joining us right now. I've been asking Larry this question for the last 3 days, Cam. I'm excited, and I'm sure you are, about Friday. And I know it's not a real game, but it's a game closer to the real game, week 1 in Chicago. What do you think? How long do you think we're going to see Trey Lance Friday night?
I would think a quarter or 2 series. You know, I asked Shanahan today if it's going to be 1 series and out, because that's what it was for Garoppolo last preseason. Garoppolo started all 3 preseason games rather than them spark some kind of quarterback controversy by letting Lance start one of those games. So I would imagine he goes maybe a quarter, at most 2 series. I think you want to minimize risk or mitigate it, whatever it is. And the real test of the preseason is going to come next week when they're doing joint practices with the Vikings, because you get more reps, and it's always a better scenario. It seems like every preseason, that's what the teams like to do. It's all about these going against a different defense, and you're not going to show everything in the preseason. So for Friday's game, you're not going to be having Aaron Rodgers out there. You're going to have just Jordan Love, and I'm kind of really curious to see how these backup cornerbacks fare. Because you're not going to have Mosley or Travarius Ward out there, I'm pretty sure. So Amador Lenore has kind of made a nice, he played really well this camp after kind of falling off the radar last year. And Ambry Thomas is a guy that needs some good preseason games to stack up there and get going. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then obviously the backup defensive end, they're stacked at defensive end opposite Bosa. So do you keep 5 other guys, or which of these guys are going to emerge as like a really good partner with Bosa on the opposite side? Because they have a lot of options.
Is Drake Jackson looking special to you at all? I mean, I've heard a lot of things from a lot of different people. It's hard to discern.
I don't think I'd say special. I mean, he looks young and raw. I don't think he looks bad. I think each one of those pass rushers has something different in them. And Drake's, I think, is going to be a pretty good pass rusher. I just see him. I think he's kind of just getting into the NFL grind. You know, you can see it on his face and the body language, and there's going to be smiles. There's going to be some exhaustion. But then you have a guy like Samson Ebukam, who's an incumbent starter, but he's going to get challenged for that role. Kamoko Toure, Charles Amenahu, Jordan Willis. They've got so many good-looking players, and the fact that Bosa looks great is probably the best find out of anything in this camp, because, I mean, Larry, you've seen enough football. I mean, Bosa he can be unreal, and it's just, as great as he's been, he needs a big season. He needs a signature game to really get more on the NFL awareness. He's got to get that All-Pro honor. He's got to get Defensive Player of the Year. He's got to get in that conversation, and he's got his body and everything prepared for it. He's got a good roster around him.
Let me ask you this, because I was telling Larry I hadn't gotten over the season from a couple years back, Cam, when the Niners were playing their home games in Arizona, and Jimmy went down, and Mullins couldn't do it, Beathard couldn't do it. And as crazy as this sounds, what have you made of Sudfeld at camp? And just if the Niners embark on a part of the season to where they need him to start a game, I mean, just who is Nate Sudfeld?
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point, because we are going to see a lot of Nate Sudfeld this preseason. He's had a pretty darn good camp. He's been very sharp. He's had only maybe 1 or 2 bad practices with some interceptions, but his accuracy is pretty good. I mean, he's going to have that high completion percentage. He'll do some check downs. He'll take just a couple shots. Lance is a little bit more daring out there. Sudfeld's a little bit more controlled, which is, I think, what you want out of your backup quarterback. And he's going to be the backup. You're paying him $2 million. The 49ers are confident that this is their 1-2 combo. They don't need Jimmy Garoppolo to stick around. They don't want him to. Jimmy doesn't want to. It's that awkward existence is going to end here in a couple of weeks, and if not sooner, just depending on if any other quarterback goes down around the league. But I've been pleasantly surprised by what I've seen from Sudfeld. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, they have a diamond in the rough just waiting to get on the field. But you have a good backup quarterback that is going to be able to run an offense that he knows really well. And one more thing on Sudfeld is, throughout Trey Lance's, I guess, what he's learned in the past year, he often referred to how great of a mentor Nate was to him. And there's a real comfort level there in that quarterback room. So the fact that Trey can lean on him, Brian Greasy, the new quarterbacks coach, a couple other assistants, and Shanahan, there's no lack of mentors for Trey Lance going into his first full year.
Spencer Burford has been one of the guys that there are a lot of people talking about. He's been the starter this entire camp at right guard. How do you see the 49er line that, outside of Trent Williams has a number of question marks? How do you see it coming together? I mean, there's a lot of young players here. There's a lot of unproven players in this camp at that spot.
Exactly. And are you going to have 3 brand new starters on the interior with Banks, Jake Brendel, and Burford? I mean, Larry, that's how it's been playing out. I'm having a hard time fully buying it. I know Daniel Brunskill has not taken a first string rep at right guard, but that's been his position the last year and a half. So I think they're just kind of going, okay, let's get the rookie up to speed, see if he can be a better option than Brunskill, which maybe he is. He certainly could be. But if you put Brunskill back in there at right guard, that gives you a little bit more experience on the line, and he knows how to play next to McGlinchey. I mean, I'm all for seeing Burford there because I think it's a really fun story. I think everybody likes him. It doesn't matter about that. I think the guy can play football. And he's got a great charisma and personality about him too. So, but it's asking a lot if you're going to have 3 brand new starters in front of a brand new quarterback. So that's why I kind of say don't rule out Brunskill yet because he has a lot of experience.
Cam, regardless what happens with Trey, a lot of Niner fans are excited, and they're excited thinking they're going to see a new offense and the ball being thrown down the field left and right. And that's exciting to me. But Larry and I were talking, I don't know if it's going to play out. Do you expect week 1, just this season, that the Niners offense will look majorly different than what we've accustomed to in the past?
Not week 1, because I don't think you have to show all your cards against the Bears. And I think what they'll do is try to establish the fact that they're a big run-oriented team again. But there's going to be different ways to run. And that's going to be Trey Lance's ability to run with the football and get out of situation. And, one thing, and I haven't seen this at camp, Larry, maybe you can correct me, but I don't think I've seen Deebo Samuel carry the ball maybe more than once. And, Deebo was such a factor in that offense going down the stretch last season, and obviously they just have a different element. So, I mean, they could have a vastly different offense. It's just, I think they just have more options, right? And Shanahan's a master of figuring out the mismatch and how to take advantage of the defense. So he's got a few extra wild cards to play with, but still establish a run-first offense.
Cam, Burford aside and Jackson aside, we already kind of covered them. There's 21 rookies in this camp, and the 2 guys that really stand out to me, 83 on offense, Tay Martin. I can't wait to see him Friday night in this preseason. And then 40 on defense, McCrary Ball, the linebacker. They have no spots for maybe either guy, but both those guys really jump off the page to me. Is there a rookie that you've seen of these 21 outside of Burford and Jackson that steps out or that stands out to you?
Well, you brought up McCrary Ball, and he played well. They have so many linebackers. I mean, they needed this many linebackers a year ago when they were all getting hurt. And I think that really bodes well for their depth because some of these are undrafted guys. They'll be able to stash on the practice squad. I'd say the rookie that really is getting a lot of opportunities is, and it's not Ty Davis Price because he hasn't jumped out as a running back. None of the running backs really have had these big breakaway runs, which is kind of disappointing, but maybe that comes in the preseason or when it really matters, the regular season. But the one rookie that I would say to keep an eye on, especially fantasy football wise, as maybe a flyer, is Danny Gray, because he's your deep threat. And every practice he's running 2 or 3 go routes, and he's made some plays that's going to win the trust of the quarterbacks and the coaches to put him in there as a rookie. And then, if he's going to be up on game day, he's probably going to have to be returning kicks too, right? Because you can't just have a 5th receiver not do anything other than run 2 or 3 routes a game. So I think keep an eye on him. I like him. I think that's obviously they targeted him to go a little bit more vertical with a stronger arm quarterback.
Hey, Cam, good stuff, man. We can't wait till Friday. We'll talk to you next week. Take it easy.
Okay, fellas. Good
Thanks,
talk.
Cam.
Thanks. Okay.
Danny Gray.
Home run hitter, man. Home run hitter.
Am I correct in saying, you let me know, the last home run hitter they had that was legit was T.O.?
I mean, they've had guys. They've had Ted Ginn. Remember Ted Ginn with the Harbaugh regime?
Yeah.
They had Marquise Goodwin.
I remember him in Dallas.
You know, but this kid, Gray, ran
4.3, man.
Well, he ran 4.3 for the stopwatch. But, I mean, if you watch him, he plays like a 4.2 guy. I mean, he's got and Purdy had a ball the other day in practice where he hit him down the right sideline in stride, and Gray was like 2 strides in front of the DB. I mean, when this kid can get deep,
oh man,
he's got big. How
tall is he?
He's like 5'11", but he's got a little bit more. He's got a little bit more heft to him, and he's pretty thin. But I mean, he is a difference-making speed guy. He's the kind of guy.
And the quarterback has a cannon.
He's going to run off the coverage, man. He's gonna create space underneath for Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, and that's what the other guys on this team are going to love Danny Gray because of how much space he creates.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and we got a show tomorrow. But the one thing you just staggered me with was Jimmy's downfield pass and those stats, complete like 16%. Less than 60% Joe Montana. And I'm like, that's what it looked like. And a lot of people, that's not, appeasing to him to watch a team that is not going to throw the ball around when every other game quarterbacks are throwing left, right. He said something about Nick Bosa I want to ask you about. And again, I won't say social media, but I'll bring it up. Nick Bosa to me is a household name. And I know Cam didn't say he isn't, but he's got to get on the national radar. I think he already is. He had 15 and a half sacks after not playing the year before in 2000, missing much of the year in 2020. Do you buy that Bosa's not household? I totally think he is, along with his brother.
Oh, he's a blue chip player. I mean, every pro personnel director knows everything there is to know about Nick Bosa. As far as his Q rating with fans, I don't know. I mean, the 49ers are an iconic team. They're a consistent playoff team. Yeah, I mean, I think Nick Bosa is recognized for the player that he is, but he's not an exciting interview. You know what I mean? You hear him interviewed and you're like, well, okay, this is a guy who obviously is a great player, but his talking is kind of secondary.
Yeah. And I'll take that because Joe Shasky and I just got to give you some feedback. We argue over who came up with this comp. Bosa reminds me of Strahan. You say what to that? Because we both say we came up with it.
I mean, he's better than Strahan as far as just ability. I mean, Strahan was bigger. Strahan had ability to back down more passes. Strahan, evolved into an incredible player. But if you took Strahan at the same portion of his career compared to Bosa, there's no comparison. Bosa's far advanced compared to Strahan. It's a technique-rich position, and it's really rare to see somebody come out of the college game with all the techniques. But that's what happens when Daddy played in the pros, and your brother's one of the great ones.
Yeah.
And the question I would say is, who's better between him and Joey? Because Joey's a beast.
When he's healthy, he's got a little rap sheet now that, he might have my neck and my back, but they're both beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey's a little bigger. Maybe Joey's a little stronger. I think Nick's probably a little bit better. I mean, just a little bit more.
What they eat
has a little more
what
moves.
was the mom cooking up in the kitchen for Pops? That's what you talk. We were talking about father, son. You got dad, your brother, your dad. That's incredible. And these are big dudes.
Well, and also, when it's the family business, man, seriously, the family business is rushing the passer. They're sitting around the table. They're probably not talking about life. They're probably talking about, hand placement.
Yeah, hunting. Yeah, hunt the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they do. And it sounds like in the offseason, Nick spends a lot of time with Joey. They diet together, they lift together, they train together. I mean, that's got to rub off on Nick Bosa. I think Nick Bosa is one of the most advanced collegiate edge rushers I've ever seen.
And for him and I know science is different, and I bring up Kevin Durant, which we'll get into on the other side about coming back from the Achilles. We got Clay, but he came back with 15 and a half sacks, which was impressive as hell to me. Never once did I look at Bosa and be like, oh, he's compromised. You can still, maybe like Clay, it's going to take a little while, like we see with a lot of athletes. But, I mean, he was as quick as a cat.
Yeah.
And I dubbed him Bosa Barbarian.
He might not have lost. I mean, usually you have a crushing injury like that, you come back, you're diminished.
Yeah.
He's not only not diminished, he's a better player than he was before the injury, which is amazing.
I like if you told me he's going to be defensive player of the year, like that's not out of the question at all for me for this Niner team if he gets to necessary help on the D line with Armstead and the rest of the game. Well, like that's something that's really attainable for him.
The noticeable difference, I think, between last year and this year when you watch the 49ers is the secondary. Jimmy Ward's in incredible shape. Hafanga is just better. Every time this team reconvenes, he's a little bit better. And then if you watch Hafanga, man, he works on all the techniques. I mean, this guy's the first guy in the field. He's leading the drills. He's talking to the coaches. And then you add Charvarius Ward.
Right.
And you got E-Man on the other corner, and he's playing his best ball. The Niners' top 4 in the secondary. The big question is nickelback, but if they can get that answered in this camp, who's going to replace Williams from last year? That's a big one. But other than that, their secondary looks absolutely nails. So if you get an improved secondary, and now now quarterbacks have to hold the ball even a half second longer.
There you go.
Some of those sack totals for some of these defensive ends, including Bosa, are going to go up.
And that's why you got them ahead of the Rams. Yeah, I like that. Listen, you always talk about our teammates here. You know, we're a family. My guy Dibbs, our guy, he texts me, and I love him to death, and he's like, Guru. And I've heard this 100 times already. Richard Williams is still with us, but and we used to have fun with that. But Dibbs, thank you. Already knowing that was brought to my attention. But good God, boy, you make a mistake. People love to point it out. But Larry, we're going to get into it. And I kind of teased it before we had Cam. This KD situation. And I already think the cat's out the bag on what not you're trying to argue or convey. I was talking to John Dickinson about it. I think we are already in that state in the NBA where the players have control. We'll get into that on the other side. It's Larry and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
He's the playmaker.
When you find the dude that sets the tone for your team, you do not let him go. And that's what Debo does for the San Francisco 49ers.
We're very happy to announce that Michael Irvin will be back for a weekly segment on Damon and Ratto this upcoming football season. We're thrilled to have you back. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, guys. It's great to be back. It's great.
It was a delight working with the Custom Kitchen and Bath Company on our renovation.
I would hire Custom Kitchen and Bath Company and Terrell Cleavy's crew, and I would recommend them to anybody who wants a quality job done right, treating your home as their home.
Small businesses are the backbone of America's economy. They create jobs, invest directly in their communities, and give back in crucial ways every day. Small businesses are resilient. They weathered the pandemic and government shutdowns, and they are engines of economic growth and opportunity. But some in Washington want to increase government spending, and to pay for it, they are calling small businesses tax loopholes. Tell Congress, don't add new taxes on small businesses.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
No Steiny today. Larry Krueger holding it down, and he'll be with me tomorrow as we continue to deliver great radio. That's what we're doing, right, Larry?
No doubt. No doubt.
Okay.
Nobody's better. Oh, wait. Maybe pump the brakes on
Yeah,
that.
your head's grown a little bit, too. I'm going to call you Mr. Tomato
Yeah,
Head because
exactly.
you won that damn Jeopardy.
I didn't win it.
Start.
I was kind of like the Dodgers in the NL West. I mean, I had a big lead.
Yeah.
I'm like Anderson and Gonsolin.
Quietly, Dibbs has had 2 bad showings. Yeah, if he's listening, if he's been listening, yeah.
I think he's lost a little bit of the fastball. He's featuring a change and another change.
Well, let's get it now. I don't know why this is just passionate to me. Everything is, Larry, when it comes to sports, but I mean, any NBA fan that wants to talk about, is the game being ruined because players have too much power? That cat's out the bag. We're living that. We're living that NBA to me, to where you see a James Harden quit in Houston and get his wish and goes to Brooklyn. Then he whines or whatever. KD says, bring him in. That's my dog. And then that they have a fallout or whatever. And then he ends up back in Philly. But this Kevin Durant thing, you and I do have a bet. It's a real bet. And I thought Marks and head coach Steve Nash will be ran before Kevin Durant. And you sent me something last night on Facebook that says Joe Tsai basically says to paraphrase, we got the coaches back in management. Like they're siding with, if you believe him and take him at face value, he's siding with the head coach. Like, we're not going to let Durant do this. But the one commodity in this whole equation to me is Kevin Durant. And I personally can get past him whining, crying, because he's not the only one. We've seen LeBron, control where he's going, and sometimes it's been free agency. But Kevin Durant, I mean, Brooklyn did everything you wanted them to do. And some, and this is the card you pull: fire the coach and GM or trade me. And again, if I'm Joe Tsai, what I'm going to do, Larry, is I don't like this play by Kevin Durant, but I understand it. I've watched this movie before. It's sickening, but I still believe I'm not wrong in going to owe you that soda, because I would stick it to Durant like, look, you got 4 years left, Larry, not 3, not 2. You got 4. I've did everything you wanted. I basically let you call the shots. And here you are stabbing me in the back publicly by saying you want to leave or fire the GM and head coach. I think Joe Tsai's not going to do anything. There was smoke before and we thought something was imminent. Nothing happened. I would make Durant play this year or look bad in public forum by holding out if he chose to do that, because he would look like the spoiled little brat that he is. I just wouldn't give him what he wants. And if he really wants to get up out of the BK, as they call it, Larry, I wouldn't oblige. I would not give him the win, because that's what it would be if you traded Durant.
Why were you so adamant that they would dump the head coach and GM yesterday?
Because Kevin Durant is a top 5 player, and Kevin Durant in a Brooklyn Net uniform can get the city of Brooklyn a chip if everything else goes right. And when you talk about Kyrie Irving, you talk about Ben Simmons. I'm being Dr. Phil, and you're going to do that before we get out of here. If his head is right and you got Curry, Joe Harris, and the rest of the gang, that's a pretty damn good team. So that is more important to me than Nash and Marks, who we can go replace.
I know, but I mean, it's like you're not given. It would be one thing if you're Kevin Durant and you took on an embattled coach in the last year of his deal, but to go out an owner and say, you know what, your total structure of your entire hierarchy needs to be just eradicated because of my whim. And then, it wasn't like he wasn't on the Nets. He was on the Nets last year, and they got swept by the Celtics in the first round. So, he's not exactly at his high point when it comes to his true value. He's also going to be 30. He's going into his age 34 season. It's the NBA. Guys don't typically play into their late 30s. LeBron's the exception. He ain't the rule, right? So it's like once you get to 34, I don't care who you are, you start to lose a little bit of your clout. I don't think it wasn't that I think that Marks and Nash are some incredible combo. You're not getting rid of Kerr and Jerry West or something. You're not getting rid of the creme de la creme, but they handpicked Marks. They like Marks. Marks is, and Marks is well thought of around the league.
And he's did everything you told him, Larry.
And that's the other thing. KD has made a lot of signed DeAndre Jordan, signed Kyrie, start DeAndre, Jordan, fire Kenny Atkinson.
Bring in Harden.
Hire Nash, trade for Harden. The guy's made several demands, and then they just got swept in the first round by the Celtics. So I don't know. I think if he were 24, he would have more clout than he has at 34. And that's just that's when you're a pro athlete, your lifespan determines some of your clout. Absolutely. If you're at the very end, Barry Bonds had tremendous clout in 1992. He could have basically asked for anything. They would have done it. But by 2007, he didn't have as much clout.
But to me, Larry,
he didn't have as much career ahead of him.
I know you're not fixated, but you keep talking about last year, and they did get sweep, and a lot of that was on Durant. And was it his best showing?
And Kyrie was there.
But the year before, he looked like the best player in the game against Milwaukee. And if he wore a size 12, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But
he hits that point, 3 instead of a 2.
Okay, but he still, to me, that Kevin Durant is more in him than the odd showing we got from last season. So when you talk about lack of leverage, he doesn't have any in this scenario, but the fact that he would just
his talent is his leverage.
Okay.
And his talent
is not
his window to contribute to the Nets is his talent, and his window is the leverage. And his talent's spectacular, but he has had an Achilles. Most NBA people would tell you KD's already played his best basketball. And I don't know. Maybe Joe Tsai thinks he's a pain in the ass.
Well, if that's the case, then he's out of there, and I'm going to owe you a pop. But I don't believe that to be the case.
Was that what I thought it was? I thought I got the pop if Marks and Nash don't get fired.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because I don't think KD's going to be up out of there. I don't think they're going to move him. I think they're just going to say, you know what, you got a 4-year deal.
That's
we're not going to get rid of you at a loss. We're not going to, just because your house has water damage doesn't mean you have to sell it today. You could always fix the water damage and move on from there. And that's what I think is going to happen here. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to have to sit there and live with it. And I'd be very. I'm really happy when I saw Myers come out and say, hey, you know what? Kind of like the team we got, because I don't think the Warriors.
But 2 weeks before that, did you think that it could pop off? Like we could see Kuminga, Poole, Wiseman for Kevin Durant, because we were discussing it right here on the station, but you said it never added up.
It didn't make sense to me. The deals that I saw were always totally one-sided in the Nets' favor. Like, well, we'll give you Wiseman and Kuminga and Moody and Poole, and it's like, what? No. You just won. The whole purpose is to win the title and to have good chemistry and a good team that your fans like. You have that in the present. So why would you invite this diva to town who's incredibly talented?
Right.
But there's all kinds of it's a volatile situation. He's a volatile guy. Is he going to get along with Kerr? Question mark. Is he going to get? He kind of buried Myers. How are they going to?
Buried a lot of people on his way out of here.
Is he going to get along with Draymond? If all of a sudden he's 2 years in, you get him for 4 years. All of a sudden he's 2 years in. Let's say he starts begging out, maybe privately, and now is Draymond going to call him out again? Probably, and then you're going to have a problem again. So I don't know. It's just and also the team that gets him in a trade right now is getting a high-priced superstar with a massive ego, and at the end, and there's a lot of guys who cannot handle the twilight of their career. emotionally, they can't handle
Damn,
that
Larry,
transition.
I feel like he's not there yet.
No, he's not there yet, but he is going to be there at the end of this deal. Would you agree?
Those are facts.
I mean, 37, 38, that's the twilight.
I'll give you that birth
so
certificate.
do you want to be holding the super,
are you going to give me two titles maybe before he gets to 38? Like, that's a possibility if Boston gets him.
Yeah.
If I'm Danny Ainge and I'm Stevens, I'm like, we need a closer. And we saw Tatum, basically, we saw what he did. I don't even know how to describe what he did, but there was some lemon booty in the soon-to-be Kobe Bryant, because I thought he was there. He's wearing the wristbands. But if you swapped him out or Jaylen Brown and brought in Durant, now you're talking about, we already were on the cusp of winning the chip, had a 2-1 lead in the finals. That would change your organization to the point to where you ain't even worried about 37, 38-year-old Kevin Durant, because you're still counting bling. Like, that's what this dude is to me. I'm just shocked that Kevin Durant is going to take this hit. Like, his brand is taking another hit because he's trying to take the easy way out. Like, they did everything under the sun. And if you say, as a Nets organization, kind of stand up to the player, well, everybody knows he basically was the GM because he did everything. And everything, Wild D. Coyote, it blew up in his face, and now you're going to appease him by trading him? I don't want that. I want to see Kevin Durant forced to play in a Brooklyn Net uniform.
I think if you're Boston, you've already screwed this up because you let this become public. And Jaylen Brown's already had to address this publicly. And that's not good. And what you want to do is you either want to don't talk about it and make the addition, or don't. But don't float it and have now Jaylen Brown's probably like, hey man, do you guys want me here?
But this is part of the business too.
I know. And he's a big boy and he's making a lot of money, but come on. I mean, does that make the Celtics better knowing that Jaylen Brown, he could have been on this way out of town for KD?
But you could have said that with Poole and the rest of the game, because there were rumors and the Warriors didn't put that out there, but it's part of this, what you sign up for. Your name might be whispered. How you going to react to it? It's time XO, the rumors.
Right. But everybody deals with it differently. I just don't think that I hope the Warriors don't go down that road. And
there's just no way.
And how long are you going to kowtow to the megastar player? I mean, how long? How long are you going to accommodate KD? How many different ways have the Nets tried to accommodate him? He's a tremendous talent.
Has he become toxic, Larry? I think he has. I think he's the one that's done it.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a great player, but I mean, I don't. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't know. I mean, I know that personally as a fan, I'm tired of it. I mean, I'm exhausted by it. This endless battle with 12-year-olds on Twitter, and all this chatter, and I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that. And for the most part, the Nets have said, okay. Right. Okay. But now he's asking. But now he's asking for it all. Now he's like, hey man, every team's hierarchy is the coach and GM. Has anybody in the history of sports ever called for the entire hierarchy to be ousted and actually gotten it done? We've seen coaches ousted, and then we've seen GMs ousted, but I haven't seen anybody with a coach and the GM.
And I know, Larry, this sounds crazy. I think Durant is getting off on, I'll be the first to do both. Like, that signals how much power I got. It's crazy. That's what I don't know the dude, but I feel like I know him. I feel like the way you just put that, like, that means something to a dude like him. And that's sad.
Well, that's destructive, and that's me centric. And I don't. If I'm Josiah, I don't want to.
KD centric.
I don't like the precedent that sets either. I mean, why would you want to set that precedent? You know what? You're planning on owning the team for, I don't know, next 10, 20 years maybe. Do you want your next superstar to come to you and say, you know what? Get rid of the coach and the GM. Oh wait, so now we're starting brand new. Because I mean, and let's look at this. Very objectively, has player empowerment done anything for LeBron? It's helped him. Do you think it was a good idea for the Lakers to, instead of trading for Buddy Hield, say, you know what? No, we don't want Buddy Hield, a perimeter shooter. I'll take Westbrook.
But they sold their soul.
Yeah. And now look at them.
That was on LeBron.
Exactly. So
they wanted DeRozan.
The GM is LeBron. The GM is basically an intern. LeBron, the player, is an all-time great, but LeBron, the GM, has never done it before. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes I think you got to you got to keep everybody in their lane to some degree.
And you know what? Speaking of that, we're going to grab Rich here in a second, but I was thinking from the outside looking in that I'll never forget when KD was a Warrior. I don't know if you remember this. They were getting ready. It was an all-star game. And then in the tunnel, it was KD and Kyrie whispering sweet nothings. They could have been talking about chili recipes, but I really believe they were talking about we're going to play together. And then that manifested. KD left, and he got him in Brooklyn. And
Shrewd move by KD.
Look at him. I thought the relationship, something was up. Like Kevin Durant was mad at him. I'm reading last night, and KD's beefing with the Brooklyn ownership that they didn't give Kyrie a long-term contract. Like KD's mad at him for that. And here I am thinking you want to get away from Kyrie, but now I guess you are still best friends. But if you're really mad that the org didn't give this guy, who Lord knows on whatever day of the week it is, how he's going to be feeling, a long-term contract, I'm just like, this is out of control. Let's go.
It is out of control.
Let's go to Fremont, bring Rich in, and I'll get back to you, Larry, because let's see what Rich says. He's been holding. What's up, Rich?
Hey, what's up, guys? First of all, Larry, nice to have you on. Goo, you know you my boy. So what this whole thing is about is exactly what Larry was saying, and that is that everybody has their lane and everybody has their role. And if everybody sticks to their role, you won't have situations what's going on in Brooklyn and what's happening in LA. There's no way in the world if I'm the owner of the Lakers that I allow LeBron James to say I want the coach fired because we had a terrible season. It's like, no, you had a terrible season because you didn't play well. That's it. Same thing with KD. It's like, come on, really? You're a basketball player, man. You don't go in the front office and tell the front office how to run things. You're not in the front office. You're a basketball player. Play basketball. I can't believe it. Really? You're going to tell them to get rid of Nash and get rid of the GM. And that's because why? Because y'all got swept in the first round. The GM and Nash weren't on the court. You and your players were on the court. You lost. And you know why you lost? Because you didn't play well. And guess what? Goo, you remember me telling you this. I said before that if KD left Golden State, I said that's going to be the worst decision of his life. And they're still going to look back at this and go, Kevin Durant? Oh, yeah. That's the guy who won 2 titles with the Golden State Warriors. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I think if you're the owner, you owe it when you got a player like a Durant, who's so spectacular. You owe it to him to have constant open dialogue. Like KD, if you want me to get rid of Marks and Nash, my door's open. Come on in, make your argument. I will listen to you. I will listen to every syllable you utter. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Send him to Utah with Danny Ainge and the Jazz. Could you imagine KD at Utah?
No.
Oh, man. I just can't believe he's playing this card, man. And again, like you said, he looked mortal against Boston in the playoffs last year. And I'm like, man, bro, that's on you. You know, you're the leader. But what has he done before? I can tell you what he's done. He got close, but he never was that guy. And he didn't win his rings. Let's put it right on the table, Larry, until he got with Steph Curry and this Warrior culture. But here he is again. Just it's like going in a relationship and I'm done. You know, it's you, but you're saying it's your partner's fault. And you're trying to find something with multiple partners, but it's you, Larry.
The one thing I don't like is I don't like the people who try to use the fact that KD played with the Warriors to discredit his greatness. He's plenty great. He wasn't along for the ride. He was the finals MVP 2 times over. He wasn't just there. There are a lot of people that want to take the whole thing away from him. Like it doesn't count. Like it's illegitimate. He wasn't just along for the ride. He was the finals MVP. He was spectacular. We need to give him that, but doesn't mean he should be the GM. Doesn't mean I'm Joe Lakers, a pretty smart guy.
Larry. He's already flexed like the hard move. That was him.
Yes.
And they did hey, who you want, Larry? Daryle? Who you want? And they brought him in, and then that thing just blew up in smoke.
Yeah. Don't you think, if I were a superstar player and I had some profound impact on these teams, I'd be like, hey, hear me out. And if I was the owner on the other side, I'd be like, you know what? I owe it to Durant to hear him out. That's what he means to this equation. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but my door's open. I want to hear what you have to say. But Let's not pretend here that you're pulling the strings, because you're not.
Wow, man.
And you shouldn't be.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll say this, Larry, can you think of a better ambassador? I think of Buster Posey than Steph Curry is for the Golden State Warriors, that you don't got to deal with this type of stuff. And let's be honest, I'm sure there's been nights or days Steph was PO'd. It's something, but you never see him go public. And some people can say right now it doesn't mean anything, but Kevin Durant is exhibit A on the superstar I wouldn't want being the face of my franchise. And, you know, if you and I did a show and we did it for years and you left without, just giving me the common courtesy to tip me that you were leaving, by all accounts, that's how he did Russell Westbrook, and I believe it. And that's why they were calling Durant Cupcake when he went back. But the more I just learn about this guy, and he kind of tells on himself every time he types something or responds, I'm kind of like, I'm out on that kid. Like, that's not good character. And if you did leave Russell that way after you guys had 7-8 years of some great times, some hard times, but you came close. But man, that's weak to me. And what he's doing right now is weak. But again, all that it seems like the basketball universe cares about is getting buckets, what he can do at his age. But man, if they give in and not just fire the GM and coach, but trade him, I got a life, but I'll be disappointed. Like, he got a spoiled basketball brat got what he wanted.
Yeah. I mean, the separation from Westbrook is hard because, how do you tell
you're leaving?
I mean, if your determination was, man, I can't win a title with this cat, then you know what? If you want to leave, I don't think you owe Westbrook anything. You're not.
But just to say bye and I'm leaving, Larry. I know. Give him a Hallmark card or let's go to dinner.
Well,
but man, hey, dog, what's up? Hey, man, I'm leaving.
I don't think he needed a heads up. It's like they're not married. This is a guy on the team.
Right? They were basketball married.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? He wanted to, and also it's like so deeply personal. It's like, hey man, I'm leaving. I don't think I can win with you. It's like, how do you leave and not have it be personal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would call you though, Larry. I get you. And I don't know what was going on, if that's all rumors, but another good show, Larry, and we'll get after it tomorrow. Congrats on your win. Tell your daughter we said hello. After us, it's Damon and Rattle. They'll be joined by Brad Gilbert, ESPN tennis analyst, and Brian Kinney from MLB Network. He'll be on, and Damon and Rattle next, right here on 95.7 The Game.